everybody. Welcome to another David Rams live stream. So, in today's stream, I am going to go through every single excuse that I've ever heard someone make to me personally, and every excuse that I've seen and heard basically that someone's made to not go vegan, or that someone's used to argue with me about veganism. Basically, every argument, every reason they've given, every excuse they've given, and we've got 65 reasons to not go vegan. 65. We're gonna go through them one by one. No bullshit, no nonsense. Just a good thorough dealing with them. A good thorough debunking, basically. And make sure you do stick around until the end. It's going to be a long one, but make sure you stick it out till the end, because that's when we're going to get to the most controversial stuff, the most controversial points. So you're not going to want to miss that. Now, if you're watching the replay of this live, as in you're not watching it live, you're watching it on the replay, hello, welcome. I hope you're going to enjoy the video. Make sure that you leave the comments as you watch and let me know what you're thinking. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button too. And also, there is a progress bar across the bottom here, where you'll be able to see every single topic, every single question. And if you go into the description, there's a list and the timestamps are there. If you're watching live, hi, welcome. Get involved in the live chat, of course. And don't forget that if you really want to make a point, or you really want to make a point right now, get your comment up on the screen and show everybody how awesome you are. Use that super chat function. It really helps me out. And one more thing, at the end, we are going to have a Q&A. So if you have questions for the Q&A at the end, then use the link in the pinned comment, which is in the live chat, and it's in the comments below, and you can ask a question. Now, I have split the excuses and the reasons into categories that I think make sense. We've got intellectually dishonest, intellectually honest, and religious arguments. The three main categories that I've decided to go for. Intellectually dishonest means that they're most likely just saying what they're saying as a reaction to what you said. So it's not that they've thought it out, or even at worst, it's that they're saying it and knowing that it's bullshit. Right? So it's kind of either they've not thought about it, or they have thought about it and they know it's bullshit and they're saying it anyway. These are kind of where we're at when we're talking about intellectual dishonesty. Now, these arguments, they don't get a moment of thought. It's a knee-jerk response, because normally, even if they've realized it's a bad response, it's a bad point, they keep going with it anyway. So that's why it's intellectual dishonesty. Intellectually honest arguments are the opposite of that. So these are normally genuine concerns that somebody has. The arguments come from a place of good faith. They're good faith arguments, which means that they are asking it not to be an asshole or to bullshit you. They're asking it because they genuinely want to know the answer and they want some help, right? Or they genuinely believe what they're saying is the more accurate way to describe that. And of course, the religious arguments. Now, these are arguments related to religion and spirituality. And basically, it's simple as that. We're going to come to those two. We're going to kick off with everyone's favorite, the intellectually dishonest arguments, the most silly ones that we see, the silly bullshit that comes up everywhere when you talk about veganism. And we're going to finish on the most controversial and difficult arguments, the religious arguments. So you're going to have to stick around till the end so you don't miss that bit, because that's the bit I'm sure we're all looking forward to. So let's begin. Let's kick off with the intellectually dishonest arguments and excuses. And we're going to kick off with one of our favorites, the canines, the canine teeth. All right. So we have canines for ripping through flesh. That's the one they tend to say, right? Our teeth are built for ripping through animal flesh. It's what they're for. Look at them. Look how big they are. Look at that, guys. Look how big they are. They're huge, right? Canine teeth. So look, anyone who believes that these puny little things are made for tearing through animal flesh needs to just give the fucking head a big shake. And first of all, but look, it's crazy. You look at other animals that have canines for ripping through flesh, and you look at us, and you can see clearly that it's not the case. I do have actually a short video. Some of you may be thinking, wait, I've never actually heard someone say this before. Well, actually, I do have a short clip of somebody actually saying this in a video, and I have my response to it actually already prepared. I actually have answered this one already in a video, so I'm going to share this with you right now. And you can see this is Dr. Zakir Naik, a doctor, a literal doctor, making this point, and then I debunk it in one of my videos that I already did on the channel. So if you've seen this before, cool. If you've not seen it before, well, here you go.
Furthermore, if you analyze, if you see the set of teeth of the herbivorous animals, the cow, the goat, the sheep, they have got flat set of teeth. They only have vegetables, they don't have flesh food. If we analyze the set of teeth of the carnivorous animals, the tiger, the leopard, the lion, they have got pointed set of teeth. They have canine set of teeth. They only have flesh, they don't touch vegetables. If you analyze the set of teeth of the human beings, if you go in the mirror and see, we human beings, we have got flat teeth as well as pointed teeth. If Almighty God wanted us to have only vegetables, why did He give us this canine teeth? Why did He give us this pointed teeth? For what? But naturally to have non-veg food, to have the flesh food.
The logic he's giving here is just so simplistic and childlike. It's just not what you expect from a doctor, let alone a famous spiritual leader who's giving information and like trying to lead people. It's just so disappointing to hear him saying this absolute nonsense. The animals with the largest canine teeth on earth, it's not a tiger, it's not a lion, it's not a leopard, it's the hippo, the hippopotamus. You know those giant hunters? Oh no, wait, no. They're completely 100% herbivorous, plant-eating animals. They have the largest canines on Earth. By Dr. Zakir's logic, they should be the biggest meat eaters on Earth because they have the biggest canines, right? No, of course not. That's not how it works. There aren't others though, right? This is the only example. No, there are others. Fruit bats, camels have canines, believe it or not. And musk deer is another example of a herbivore that has canine teeth. Correlation is not the same as causation, and as a doctor, Dr. Zakir should know the difference. Correlation would say that, well, most carnivorous animals have canine teeth. Causation would say that, therefore, to have canine teeth means you're a carnivorous animal or that you eat meat. But that's not how it works. Yes, there is a correlation, but there isn't a causation as proven by the hippopotamus. It's not true that the presence of canine teeth means that the canine teeth are designed to rip into flesh. And you can prove this by taking a look at other animals that have canine teeth designed to rip into flesh and compare them to your canine teeth, and you'll see there's a very big difference. There are different types of canine teeth for different purposes. Canine teeth are not all for ripping into animal flesh.
So there you go. That's quite a thorough debunking. I think we're off to a good start with that one. And yeah, I wanted to just roll that with you because I think that's one of the best ways I've explained it before. It's pretty simple just to fly through it. Next up, let's keep moving, right? Let's fly through these. We've got 65. We're only on one. That's the beginning. So let's jump on to the next one. Cavemen, ancestors. So we have people, they say, oh, our ancestors, the cavemen did this, right? They say, and that means that we should also do it. The cavemen, they were living in a certain way. They were killing animals. They were doing that stuff. So that means that we should continue to do it. Easy one to debunk here. Judging the behaviors and the actions of our ancestors by today's standards would render them completely barbaric. Right? I mean, 99% of what our ancient ancestors did would, in today's world, be considered barbaric. So are you really going to use the actions of humans thousands of years ago to try and justify actions today? No, of course not. No, of course not. Absolutely not. Right? So even though I agree, our ancestors and cavemen, they did do these things. This is a correct point to bring up. It has absolutely no relevance to how you live today. Just the same as the way they lived in caves doesn't have any relevance to how now we live in houses. Just the same way they communicated by making noises at each other is not the same as how we communicate with over the hundreds and hundreds of languages all across the world. The way they communicated, they didn't even communicate with people who lived really far away. They didn't know they existed. We use the internet and telephones, all right? The way they lived is completely irrelevant to the way we live today. It's that simple. It's a stupid point. And as I said, it's an intellectually dishonest point because no one actually believes we should live the way our cavemen did. It's just a fucking stupid point. Point number 3, all right? We've got we evolved by eating meat. We evolved by eating meat. Now, the science on this topic is not actually decided, just to clarify this, all right? There are scientists that believe it's true, that this is how we evolved. There are scientists that believe it was more of a combination. There are scientists that believe that it was actually communication that forced our brains to evolve and we communicated. But let's look. Let's just assume that it's correct for the sake of the argument. All right. Let's assume this argument is 100% correct. Our brains evolved from consuming meat. How is that a justification to continue consuming it? Like, what do you think? You're going to evolve again? You say, really? You think that's how it works, huh? Like, it takes millions of years to evolve. So, is that what you're hoping for? If you eat meat, that one day you're gonna wake up like Limitless, like the movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper. Like, you're just gonna wake up and like, oh my god, I understand everything. My brain's working so quickly. It must have been because I've eaten meat for all these years. It's just so dumb. It's so stupid. Now we know we can get all the nutrition that we need from other sources, right? We know that all the nutrition present in animal flesh we can get from plant-based sources. So I mean, if we evolved by eating meat, I'm sure that if we had the knowledge that we have now, and we went back to pre-evolution and we consumed the nutritional equivalent of animal flesh, then I'm sure we would evolve the same way anyway, right? So again, we can fly through these because they're pretty stupid, but I hope it's helping you guys. If you weren't sure how to answer these before, I'm hoping it's giving you some insights. And by the way, when I'm giving you these responses, these aren't the responses I would actually say to one-to-one with somebody. That's a whole other video in itself, like how to get this across in a good way. What I'm giving you now is the straight up, bare bones, brass tacks, no bullshit. This is just how it is. And yeah, there are better ways to communicate it, just as an FYI. But anyway, point number 4, vegans are weak / always get sick. Vegans are always sick. Vegans are always skinny. I met this vegan once and they were always off work sick, my vegan friend, all this silly nonsense. So it's just plain false. All right. It's a stereotype perpetuated by the media, actually. It used to be anyway. It's changing now. And media is not pushing it as much as they used to. It's most likely, it's been backed financially by Animal Ag, clearly. They got a lot of money. And look, there are plenty of plant-based athletes and even more athletic, less athletic, everyday vegans that live perfectly healthily. And all you need to do to prove this point, you can go on Google, like literally Google vegans and healthy vegans and whatnot. You can go and find these people. You can go watch the Game Changers. You can find it. But look, if you want some proof, like after the whole pandemic situations died down, go visit a hospital and ask the doctors why are people in here, and you'll find there's no one dying of protein deficiency from being vegan. You'll find there'll be very few people in there actually suffering from a vegan plant-based diet. But you ask them how many are dying, how many are suffering from an animal product-based diet related illness, and it will be the majority of people. So if you want to talk about vegans getting weak and getting sick, then look, go and take a look at heart disease, cancer, and diabetes and what they're linked to, the direct consumption of animal products and people in the hospitals from eating those things. So we're on to number 5 already. Reason number 5. We're going fast. We're 13 minutes in. We're doing all right. You couldn't make a lion or whichever carnivorous animal they choose go vegan, so why should I go vegan? You couldn't make a lion go vegan, so why should I go vegan? Do you know what? I've actually had that. I've had that said to me a few times. Like, well, are you going to go tell a lion to go vegan? And every time it's said to me, I'm like, I have to remind myself that this is intellectual dishonesty, and it's a lot of the time it's not. They're not doing it trying to be a dick. They're doing it because it's just a knee-jerk reaction, right? But I still can't believe people say it. So look, it's simple. Are you a lion? No, didn't think so. Lions are obligate carnivores. That means if they don't hunt, they don't kill, if they don't eat other animals, they will die. They will die. They act on survival instincts. They act on necessity. They act not based on a moral code. They don't act by thinking, oh, is this the right thing to do? Should I do this? Does this cause harm to someone else? And could I avoid it? No, that's not how they live. It's not how they can do that. They can't do that. They just instinctively kill. They just go and kill and eat, and then they feel good, and then they do it again, and this is how they live. You, on the other hand, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, or if you're talking to a vegan, like, you're a human, not a lion, because lions don't watch YouTube. You are consuming animal products for pleasure and convenience. You're paying someone. You're not even killing yourself. You're paying someone to kill for you, for pleasure, convenience, for nothing else. There's no necessity. You're paying someone to kill animals for you for taste, pleasure. You are not anywhere near the same as a lion in so many ways. And it's a stupid argument. It's that simple. It's a stupid argument. And if you are using it, if someone's linked you to this video right now and you're using it, come on, get a better argument. All right, there are actual sensible arguments against veganism. We're going to go through them here, but there are sensible, understandable arguments. Pick one of those. All right, if you're going to try and chat shit, or just go vegan. Don't argue. What am I talking about? Don't argue. Go vegan. Number 6, using or eating animals is natural. That's what they say. It's natural. Now we got to go through what they mean by natural. If by natural they mean it happens in nature, that's one thing. Or if they mean natural as in it's some kind of natural purity, then that's another thing, right? But either way, if you're using a mobile phone, Wi-Fi, a car, a plane, air conditioning or heating in your home, you have a home built from bricks, cement, carpeting, a bed, all of these things, they're all unnatural. According to, if you're talking about the sense of, naturally, like in nature, like the things, how it's supposed to be, the ecosystem, all of that's unnatural. None of that's like developed by the world around us. No, we physically put these things into place. We created elements and combined things to create plastic and all this. None of this is natural by that same logic. So look, something being natural or not isn't a reason to do it or not. It's not a good enough justification by itself. Even if we accept that using and killing animals is natural, based on whatever definition we're using, it doesn't mean that it's good. Yeah, do you understand this? Natural isn't always good, and what's good isn't always natural. So look, imagine I agree with them. Using and eating animals is natural. I agree. It's totally natural. Like humans have done it forever. It's a natural behavior of humans to kill and eat animals. Imagine I agree. That doesn't automatically make it okay or moral. So it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. Rape is natural. Murder is natural. These actions aren't justified by them being natural. And if you don't agree with me about the R word, I'm sorry for dropping that, by the way. I should have given you a little warning. But with the R word, that's not natural. Murder's not natural. What are you talking about, David? They're both natural. They're two of the most natural behaviors of humans out there. We've been doing those things since the beginning of humanity. The difference now is that those things are obviously socially and legally we condone them. We say no. Condemn them. We say no when these things aren't allowed anymore. We've taken a stand on these things, and you'll get put in prison and you'll get punished for them, right? But they're natural behaviors, unfortunately, for many of the victims of these acts. Okay, whether you like that or not, like that's why it's important to say natural isn't good and what's good isn't always natural. It doesn't work like that. And I have a little. Let's break it up. Let's give you a little video as well. I made a video of the opposite of this, actually, that veganism is unnatural, right? So this is another argument people say. It's like kind of the same argument. Using and eating animals is natural, veganism is unnatural. So let me show you a little video clip of a reel that I made. Instagram Reels, like a little short. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with Instagram and that they do this, but I make these little 15 to 30 second clips, and this is one of them. Oh, there's no audio. What's going on here? Let's just refresh that for you. You can watch it. Natural. Neither is your house, your car, your clothes, or your fucking toothpaste. You can be healthy, happy, and stop abusing animals by going vegan. Who gives a shit if it's natural or not? There you go. Oh, my goodness, the audio is continuing on my side. 1 second. There we go. Shut that down. So there you go. That's a very quick response to that argument. Maybe that's a more useful one for you rather than the long-winded one. But there you go. Right, we're up to number 7 now. It's what they are bred for. This is one that we get. It's what they are bred for. Animals are bred for this purpose. Therefore, this is why it's okay for me to keep doing this to them. And it's correct. That is what they're bred for. Okay, you can't argue with that. The industries breed them to use them for these exact things. Just like the human slave traders bred humans for the things they were bred for. You know, it's exactly the same. Fuck. Well, that's not nice, is it? No, it's not nice. But does that make it okay? The animals are bred for that purpose, and they used to breed. And you think I'm making this up. You need to read some history. Humans were bred to be slaves. All right. Did that make it okay? No, it didn't make it okay. But that's what they were bred for. So where's the logic? Okay, there is no logic here. It's a stupid point. Some countries breed dogs, cats, hamsters, and they eat them. Is that okay? Most of the Westerners in the world are going to say no. Most of the people in those countries are going to say yes, right? In specifically some parts of India and other parts of the world, they'd say the cow's holy and you can't kill the cow. Are Westerners going to agree with that? Most non-vegan Westerners, no. So the point is here is that it doesn't matter why they're bred. It doesn't matter if they're bred to be used and killed. It doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't justify you using and killing them for your pleasure and convenience. That's the point here. All right. So the whatever that someone bred them for doesn't make any difference. Point number 8, or reason number 8. They don't feel a thing. They're killed humanely. That's a very common one. They don't feel anything. It's just a quick shot in their head and they're gone. It's peaceful. It's humane. It's all good. That's what we hear. I've heard that one a lot. Let's imagine I agree. Let's go, let's go with it. They don't feel a thing, right? Let's imagine. It's over in less than a second. How, in any world, does that justify killing them? Like, in what court of law would you stand up and say, oh, but Your Honor, he didn't feel a thing? Like, what? It doesn't justify the act of violence, does it? Like, pick any serial killer when they go up and they get up and they get charged. Like, whoa. Why are you being so harsh on me, yeah? It's not like they had any pain or suffering when I was killing all those humans and all those people. They didn't feel a thing. Why are you so angry here? Why am I going to get put away? Why am I getting the electric chair? I don't understand. I didn't hurt anyone. None of them felt any pain. It's just stupid. The word humane is a big buzzword when veganism comes up. The animal agriculture industries have been using that for years, pumping it into people as part of intelligent marketing strategies to ease the guilty consciences of consumers. And humane, the definition of humane means with compassion or benevolence. There's nothing compassionate or benevolent going on in a slaughterhouse or any farm for that matter. The animals in these industries, they're bred for that purpose, to be manipulated and used for profit, manipulated and killed. None of it's done out of compassion. None of it's done for anything but profit. And look, I assumed, I pretended to agree that they don't feel a thing, but even if they did feel a thing, even if they didn't feel a thing, it doesn't make a difference. But as the reality goes, they do feel a thing. There are plenty of undercover videos out there, some of which I've taken from the UK. There are some from the UK, Australia, America. I've taken many in India, and they scream and scream in their final moments. So yeah, they do feel a thing. But even if they didn't feel a thing, it doesn't justify it. Just a quick note here. Someone just said that there's a delay between my speaking and the video. I guess, could you guys just confirm are you seeing that or not? If you just let me know, is everything looking okay? Are we all synced up or is there any problems? Let me know. All right, number 9. The animals would take over. The animals would take over the world. That's, again, you wouldn't believe it, but the people say this. They would take over. As in, I don't know what it means, but like they could overthrow the government, start a war against the humans, fill our streets with hundreds of thousands of different breeds of animals and species of animals. Is that what it means? No, I guess what they're trying to say is that there would be there'd be too many. They'd be all over. They'd overrun. We wouldn't know what to do with them. I suppose that's what they're trying to say. It is such a ridiculous excuse. It's hardly not worth debunking, but I'm still going to do it anyway. So the reason that there are so many of these animals on the earth is because they are farmed animals. Farmed animals, as in they're being farmed. Yeah. So if you stop farming them, then they won't be being farmed anymore and there will be less of them. There are tens of billions of cows, pigs, sheep, chickens. Do you really think that those natural populations of those animals, if they were in the wild, would be that high? Really? Without human intervention? They wouldn't be that high, all right? They exist because they are domesticated. These are domesticated man-made breeds of the species that would exist in the wild. When humans stop breeding them to use them and kill them for profit, their numbers will decline massively. They're not going to take over the world. All right. Number 10, animals will go extinct if we don't keep breeding them. So there's some domesticated man-made animals may go extinct. This is true. All right. But it's not a reason to not go vegan, because these animals that humans have created, they have bred into existence. They're riddled with health issues. All right. Their cows are selectively bred to overproduce milk. Pigs are selectively bred to grow as fast as possible, and chickens too, and ducks and loads of other animals. They've been selectively bred and manipulated, genetically modified to grow as fast as possible, which it just ruins their bodies. All right. They face a short, painful life with numerous health issues. And if you don't believe me on this, go and speak to any rescuer who rescues farmed animals and ask them how long do they live after they've been rescued. And most of them die. They don't die of something like, old age, or die of something like, they just die because their bodies are literally not able to continue past a certain age because of the way they've been bred. They're not bred to live for a long time. They're bred to be killed as children, as babies. So their bodies are just a fucking mess because of how they've been bred. It's absolutely horrific. So if these animals, these man-made monstrous animals, which I don't believe they're monsters, I love them, but I'm just saying in genetic terms, they are monsters. They are not fit to survive without humans, unfortunately. If they were to go extinct, it would be a blessing, in my opinion, right? As it stands, though, they most likely wouldn't go extinct because there would be sanctuaries in the world that would care for them and care for small populations of them, out of sympathy and empathy. But I honestly, personally think the best thing for these breeds that humans have created is for them to go extinct and be put out of their misery, to be honest, to not keep living with these horrible ailments that we've created in them. Thank you so much for the super chat, Melly. We're up to 10 arguments debunked. You are 100% right. And yeah, thank you so much for this. It really, really means a lot. There's always a huge risk with my live streams that they get demonetized because of the nature of what we're talking about, animal rights and sometimes human rights issues when we're talking about them in the same live, and swearing and the no bullshit approach. So I really do, the super chats really go a long way. So thank you so much. Number 11, 10 down, number 11. If everyone goes vegan, the animals will be abandoned to starve and die. It's kind of similar to the last one, but it is its own argument, all right? And I have heard that before as well. This is a very common one that I've heard. So firstly, what a noble reason to continue abusing animals, though. What a noble person who says that. What a lovely person. Like, oh, I'm just contributing to these industries and the abuse because, look, I just don't want them to be abandoned because, it's all for their own good. That's why I'm doing it. It's fucking stupid. Stupid. I'm going to use a different word, right? Because I've repeated stupid a load of times. It's ridiculous is what it is. Ridiculous. So everyone won't go vegan in a day or even a year. It's what actually will happen is people are going to go vegan all over the world at different times. All right. Meaning that these industries are going to lose more and more and more money until eventually they're going to have to give up and change or stop completely, change to a different product or stop completely. So yeah, they're not going to be abandoned to starve and die. And to be honest with you, I don't know if this is, I don't know if you knew this, but in a lot of countries, they already abandoned them to starve and die. Especially in India, I saw this happening a lot, actually. Any animal that got old or sick or that wasn't useful, for example, males in the dairy industry, they just get abandoned on the street to starve and die. So it's already happening in the industries. So again, another ill thought out, intellectually dishonest argument. Number 12. Argument 12. We're doing them a favor by bringing them into the world. We're doing them a favor by bringing them into the world. These are just such noble people, aren't they? So noble people that say these things. I'm just trying to help the animals. That's all. Look, no favor is being done when bringing an animal into the world to be used as a slave for profit and then killed once their usefulness has reached its end. This is not a blessing. You're not doing them a favor. It's a curse. You're bringing them into a life of hell. You're bringing them into hell on earth. And once again, I do have a short little clip that I can show you here that you can access this on my Instagram if you wanted to share it with people. This is the worst argument I've ever heard, actually, to be honest with you. But anyway, here's what was my faster responses to this.
You think systematically breeding genetically modified animals could then enslave
And there you go. That's a much faster version of that. Again, it's on my Instagram if you wanted to share that with somebody making that terrible excuse. You can go for it. And I think give your fucking head a shake is going to have to be like a catchphrase of mine. I feel like I say that a lot. I have to get it printed on a t-shirt or something. I don't know. I'm realizing now after watching that, I do say it quite a lot. All right, number 13. Human rights are more important. Human rights are more important. Yet another intellectually dishonest argument. Let's fly through it. So you can believe that human rights are more important. That's all right. If you believe that, that's totally fine. I don't have a problem with that. And no vegan should have a problem with that. If somebody says, the human rights are more important, that's totally fine. No worries. All good. Oh, you couldn't hear anything on the clip. Oh my goodness. All right. How about, yeah, we'll just skip past it. Don't worry about it. We'll come back to we'll just continue on. We can come back to it later. That's my bad. All right, but human rights are more important. We'll stick to that, all right? So, yeah, as I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with believing that. If someone wants to believe that, there's no problem. They can believe that. It's not the end of the world. But what it does mean, though, and what it shouldn't mean, though, is what I'm trying to say. What it shouldn't mean is that they continue to abuse animals. It's like, you can say, I believe that humans are more important than non-humans whilst not abusing non-humans, right? I mean, I don't particularly agree with that statement that, oh, humans are more important. You know, it's like, it smells of human supremacist behavior, human supremacist attitudes, which I want rid of. I want us to move away from that. And I want us to grow and become better. But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to believe that right at that moment, that's all right. Just don't abuse animals. Like do you know what I mean? You can believe human rights are more important and still not pay for non-humans to go through hell. That's my point here. You can be a vegan and you can be a human rights activist. You don't have to do any animal rights activism. Just don't abuse animals. You go and do your human rights activism. No worries. It's not mutually exclusive. You don't have to do one or the other. Now, most people who use this excuse, though, they won't be doing anything for human rights anyway. Most of the time. These are the kind of person that says this. They don't actually do shit most of the time. They're just looking for a way to get out of making a change. I have another video for this, but hopefully this time I actually put the sound on. It was my fault. It was my side. I just didn't click the sound. I should have clicked the sound button. There it is. Share audio. Now this time, this little clip, you're gonna get a nice short response, and it's gonna have some sound. All right. So here we go.
I won't go vegan because there are human issues that I think are more important. That's like saying I won't stop abusing children because there are LGBT issues that are more important. It's fucking ridiculous. It's not like going vegan makes it impossible to fight for other causes. You can do both. You can stop paying for animal abuse and you can fight for humans. But you already knew that. This is just another shitty excuse to try and justify your animal abuse.
And there you go. That again, don't forget, you can go on my Instagram and pick those up if you ever wanted to share them, and with anybody who's saying these silly things, you can send them right over. Number 14. It's the food chain though. It's the food chain though. All right. The food chain. Walking into a supermarket and buying a package containing someone's body parts is not any part of any food chain, is it? You know, we have left behind these naturalistic fantasies of a food chain a long time ago as humans. We're not part of a bloody food chain. We're not part of even part of a natural ecosystem. Actually, like when I say natural ecosystem, what I mean is that our presence on Earth is basically destructive. You know, we are not a good part of the system, right? We're just far removed from it. That's why we're having to backtrack and try and fix all the shit we've already fucked up. So look, claiming you're part of anything remotely like a food chain is just nonsense. Breeding, using, and killing animals in the billions is not being a part of a food chain. It's that simple. And even if I agreed with you that, oh yeah, it is the food chain. You know, it is the food chain. You are not like the other animals on our planet. You have the ability to make moral decisions on what you think is the best, not just for you, but for others. Other animals that are involved in food chains, they can't decide, like, wait a minute, I don't want to be a part of this chain here. I'd rather go and do something. No, they can't decide that. They just are. We aren't like them. We have the possibility to actually decide, no, I don't want to be part of this food chain. So even if I agreed with you that it was a food chain. It's still not a good argument. And that leads us on to number 15, which is very similar, actually. The circle of life. It's kind of similar to the food chain, but some people specifically say food chain, some people say specifically circle of life. And there is a difference, because the circle of life, it comes from the children's cartoon movie, one of the best movies of all time, The Lion King. It comes from The Lion King. That you're trying to quote a children's cartoon to justify animal abuse here. All right? it's The Lion King. Come on. I'm not making this up. I have researched this. All right, I have literally researched this. I've looked really far for the origins of the circle of life. It's the fucking Lion King, I'm telling you. So I just wanted to make a distinction between the food chain and circle of life, because it's so important to point that out to people. We have a super chat from Oliver. Thank you so much, Oliver. Couldn't wait until argument 20. This is a very good live. No, that's awesome, dude. And we're gonna be on 20 soon. Don't worry. We're gonna be on 65 in about 3 hours, maybe. Thank you so much for the super chat. And please, everybody, if you're enjoying this, if you want to get your comment up on the screen and show everyone how awesome you are and really support me, then please do use that super chat. Thank you. All right, next up. Whew, here we go. One of the favorites. Plants feel pain, though. Plants feel pain, though. Guys, plants feel pain. What are we going to do about this? The oats that I savagely, murdered for this oat shake. Oh my God. Oh my God. These Plant Lives Matter activists are going to be shitting themselves right now with anger. They're going to be so mad. Oh, look at this. I'm trolling right now. This is me trolling. I'm trolling the Plant Lives Matter activists right now. All right, look, let's be real. All right. Plants have no central nervous system. They have no nerve endings. They can't feel pain. And they're not self-aware. But let's look. We know that. They know that. It's all right. But let's imagine they do. Let's imagine it is 100% proven that they feel pain, right? Like we do. And that means that they are deserving of the same moral consideration as a pig or a cow or any animal. Let's imagine we all agree. Most plants are killed to feed the animals that are then killed to feed the humans who are consuming them. So if you're a Plant Lives Matter activist, go vegan and save the plants. Because more plants are killed for animals than are for humans. If every single human in the world became vegan and only ate plants, that would still be less plants dying than they are currently in the non-vegan world, because of all the animals that are being bred and enslaved and being fed plants. And they eat a lot more plants. A cow's a lot bigger than you. Pigs eat a shitload of food, and there are so many more of them than humans. So even if we agree that plants feel pain, it's still fucking I need a better word. Not stupid. Just a fucking ridiculous argument. All right? As we go through this, I need to find some better descriptive words of how nonsensical these arguments are, because there's so many. I can't just keep calling them stupid. Number 17, personal choice. It's my personal choice, though. It's my personal choice. It's my choice. It's personal. How can you tell me not to do this? It's personal. It's all me. It's my choice. It's me, all about me. Look, I agree in the sense that it's your choice to pay for animal abuse. Of course it is. It's your choice to be a racist. It's your choice to be a sexist. It's your choice to be an abusive piece of shit. I can't take that away from you. That's all your choice. Maybe the police could take that away from you. I'll put you in prison for doing some nasty shit. But look, it's your choice. You can choose that life. You can choose that way. I can't stop you from choosing that. All of these things are your choices to make. But all these things are far from personal choices, because every one of those choices that I just said has a victim, right? So yeah, make your choice. But why would you choose to pay for violence to animals or violence to anyone when you can avoid it? It is an impersonal choice. Why would you make that choice? Simple as that. No need to go further into that. Number 18. What about people's jobs? What about those poor workers that what would they do? These poor people. I really care about them. I really care about these people. What are they going to do? I've always loved slaughterhouse workers. I've always loved them. They're my favorite kind of worker. And you know, it's nothing to do with right now just because you've talked about veganism. No, come on, it's nothing to do with that. No. I've always loved slaughterhouse workers. Yeah. All right. Look, what about the poor blockbuster workers? Did you fight for their jobs when Netflix started? Right? When Netflix took over and just destroyed that whole industry? And what about the print news industry, like the newspapers and stuff? Are you fighting for their jobs and rejecting the online news channels? Are you rejecting online news altogether? Did you reject the TV if you're old enough to see the TV come into play when they took over and radio was kind of losing out? And no, I guess not. The market changes, right? And these jobs and opportunities change. And in this case, it's not just changing for like new technology like Netflix or TV. It's changing for a better world. And not only for the animals, right, who benefit the most from this better world, but also the people that are working in these places that you claim to give a shit about. Because they're suffering from PTSD, anxiety, and they commit domestic violence in higher rates than pretty much any other profession, all right, the people in slaughterhouses. And this is PTSD, anxiety, violent tendencies. It's all very common in slaughterhouse workers. So look, if you really care about their jobs and you care about them as individuals and their livelihoods, then, well, stop making them work in places that cause them so much harm because you're being a selfish fucking asshole and you want to eat and use animal products. Simple as that. I mean, if I agree with you and I say, wow, I really believe you care about these people, then the solution is still to go vegan and force these people to find another job, right? Simple as that. Because you don't want them working in places that fuck up their lives if you really care about them, which obviously they don't. So, number 19, vegans are all hippies. Vegans are all hippies. Now, this is funny because I actually used to think this, to be honest with you. But look, do I look like a fucking hippie? I mean, maybe actually that's a bad argument. I do look like a bit of a hippie with the beard, but I mean, the point is here, like, look, vegans aren't a monolith. All right, it means that we don't all fit into a group. We're not just like a group, like we're all vegans and vegans are all fit into this nice little neat little box. No, it doesn't work like that. There are vegan bodybuilders, vegan soldiers, vegan businessmen and women, and vegan hippies too. There are vegans all over the world and they all do different things and they're all different people. So no, vegans aren't all hippies. Easy to debunk. Number 20, milestone. We're smashing it. We're going through quickly here. Veganism is a cult. Veganism is a cult. Number 20. If veganism is a cult, right, then what is systematically breeding animals into captivity, using their bodies, manipulating them, and then slitting their throats for pleasure, for culture and tradition, right? Because how is that not a cult, but veganism is a cult, right? Because what, vegans are deciding to not do that, so that means veganism is a cult? Get real. It's the complete opposite of a cult. When you go vegan, you leave the cult. You break away from the cult. You break away from a cult of animal sacrifice. Right? That's basically what it is. If you're not vegan, you're in a cult of animal sacrifice. Right? So break out of the cult, free your mind, and get away from it. Get away from these cultish traditions and cultures, culty cultures. Break out of it. All right, we're on to number 21. So we're at the first 20 down. How are you doing here? You enjoying this? You guys enjoying the well, I guess some of it's not enjoyable, some of it's quite serious, but like in the silly ones, are you enjoying the debunks there? Are there any particular any that you haven't heard before? Any new ones to you here? Any responses you think that could be better for some of the ones that I've already done? Get in the comments in the live or in the comments below the video and let me know how you feeling so far. How's it going for you so far? All right, number 21. It doesn't make a difference. Number 21, it doesn't make a difference. Like I can't make a difference, by the way. That's what it means. Like if I go vegan, nothing's going to change. It won't make a difference. What's the point? You know, what's the point? It's not going to make a difference. Imagine if everyone who's ever stood for anything had that same mindset. It doesn't make a difference. Imagine that. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Every single person can make a difference. Every one of us can have an impact on the world. Imagine, go look at the most inspirational people of history. Just pick any social justice cause or anything, and imagine if that person said, or those people said, we can't make a difference. It's ridiculous. Come on. Everyone can make a difference. And sure, look, you going vegan may not seem like it's going to change the world. It might not feel like you're changing the world, but it is. And it's changing the world for those animals that won't be abused and killed for your lifestyle. It may not feel like you changing changes the world, but it changes the world for the animals. All right? Thank you for the super sticker, Amelia. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And keep those super chats and super stickers and all that good stuff coming. If you're enjoying, if you want to get more involved, if you want your comments come up on the screen, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate these super chats. Keeps me going, gives me energy. That along with my oat milk. All right. 22. What's 22, right? Yeah, 22. You can't be fully vegan. Pointing out examples, things like leather steering wheels on cars and stuff like that. You can't be fully vegan, right? It's not possible. You can't be 100% vegan. So look, veganism is not perfect. It is not the end goal. It is not we don't just go vegan and stop and that's it. It's finished. That's not how it works. Veganism is a baseline. It's the absolute minimum commitment to standing against animal abuse. Our world that we all live in is non-vegan, right? So there are going to be situations that you're going to come up against that are going to leave you unable to avoid animal exploitation. For example, you get into a taxi, it has leather seats. Basically take a flight. Let's say take a flight. There's elements of that plane that have animal products. It might not be leather, but it might be in the plastic or it might be in whatever they're using. Pretty much transport is pretty much actually, it's unavoidable that you're exploiting animals when you take public transport or private transport, for example. But you need to do it, right? You need to get from place to place. It has to happen. So this being a necessity and this being unavoidable does not justify actively choosing the products of animal abuse when you can avoid them. It doesn't make any sense. For example, the desert island thing that a lot of people tend to bring up, it's kind of linked in this here. Like, oh, if you were on a desert island, would you do this? Would you do that? Yeah, of course. Veganism is not a religion. It is practical. It is objective. It's rational. If I needed to consume animal products to be healthy, if I needed to, like it was a necessity to survive, I would do it. Okay, it's not about some kind of code of religious culty thing. So yes, it's true, you can't be 100% vegan because our entire world is built on animal exploitation. It's almost impossible unless you, even if you lived out in the jungle somewhere, you would end up harming animals. It's almost impossible to do it. But the point is that doesn't justify going out and purposefully contributing to animal abuse. That's the point. Number 23. Well, then don't walk. You're killing ants, bacteria, organisms, etc. It's kind of, again, 22 and 23, I've put them together because they are similar, but they are also different. I've had people say this to me, well, when you sneeze, you kill bacteria. When you walk, you're killing ants and organisms and stuff like that. Similar response to the last excuse. Veganism is imperfect. There are unavoidable aspects of life which can and will cause harm to other organisms and animals. It doesn't justify causing harm to animals. It doesn't justify going out and purchasing and contributing to it. Unavoidable harm is not an excuse to do harm to people, to do harm to animals. All right? You with me here? Am I making sense here? All right. So those two are kind of a similar response. Okay, number 24. Animals can't survive without us. So they need us. Yep. Animals need us. The only reason that any animal needs a human is because humans made it that way. So, for example, we're talking about dogs and cats, domesticated animals like those. A lot of them rely on humans and human assistance. And many animals rely on human assistance to survive now and to live in this human supremacist, human-centric world that we've created. It doesn't justify continuing to exploit the shitty relationship we created. All right? Simple as that, number 24. All right. Number 25. We're flying through these ones nice and quickly. Humans and animals are different. Humans and animals are different. How many times have you heard that one before? This is one of the most common ones, right? If you've heard that before, tell me in the comments right now, and tell me who said it to you. Like, tell me how the conversation went. So this one is 100% true. It is true. We are different, but we are exactly the same in ways that matter, right? So, for example, if I don't have scales, right? And some animals have scales. I don't have feathers. Some animals have feathers. We are very, very different. Oh my God. Very, very different. All right. Very, very different. But I don't want to be abused. I don't want to be tortured. I don't want to be kept in captivity. I don't want to be impregnated. I don't want to be forcibly have things shoved inside me. I don't want to be shot in the head. I don't want to have my throat slit. And neither do you, right? Well, neither do they. They don't want any of those things either. So this isn't about seeing animals as so the same as us that you're going to give them a driving license or the right to get married to each other, right? Then it's not about giving them the same rights as a human. That's not what this is about. This is not what... And if a vegan's here and believes that, look, I just don't agree with you, all right? We're not going to get into that, but I think it's a ridiculous thing to say. It's absurd, right? It's not about that. It's about giving them enough moral consideration that they aren't abused for the whims of human pleasure. That's it. It's the basic amount of consideration that you would give to another living being that feels pain and can suffer like you do, that you just don't do it to them. So it doesn't matter if they're different. They are different. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference that they are different. They still deserve to be treated with the level of respect, enough respect that you wouldn't do that to them. Karan, thank you so much for your super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Your support. It's well appreciated. Everybody, look how awesome Karan is. Thank you so much. Really, 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 really well appreciated. Number 26. Veganism is just a trend. You'll grow out of it. And how many of you have heard this from your parents or family members? It's just a trend. You're just going through a phase. Just a phase, right? I bet so many of you have had that bullshit. So look, maybe for some people it's a trend, right? As in not veganism, but eating plant-based, that it's a trend. True. There are tons of plant-based influencer, trendy celebrities and fucking assholes out there muddying the waters and confusing the fuck out of people by going vegan when really they're just going plant-based as some kind of trend. You know, it's a trendy diet, just like going on a, I don't know, potato diet or keto or some stupid shit like that. So, you know, it can be confusing sometimes, and I can kind of understand why someone would say this, but look, veganism isn't a trend or a phase. Veganism is a moral stance. It's a decision to reject animal abuse in all of its forms. So it's just like, you wouldn't expect someone to suddenly be pro child abuse, would you? Right? If someone, you're just having a chat and then they're just like, so yeah, I just don't really see the problem with child abuse anymore. Like, I used to think it was bad, and now I'm just like, no, it's all right. I think I'm going to do it. No, you wouldn't. That wouldn't happen, right? Just the same as it's safe to assume that someone who has actually gone vegan won't suddenly become pro-animal abuse. In the same context, like the way you think about child abuse is the way that when someone has made the connection and gone vegan is the way they feel about animal abuse. It's the same. It's the same. Number 27. We're up to crop deaths. Crop deaths. Like, yeah, there are animals dying to grow crops, right? So therefore, your veganism's bullshit. You've heard that, right? I'm going to guess you've heard that, or at least you've seen others people, you know, dealing with this bullshit. So animals and insects die in crop production. This is true. Due to pesticides, machinery, farmers protecting their land. It happens. Yeah, it happens. And for me personally, I consider it as something as indirect harm. Because when I purchase plant food, when I purchase vegan food, I'm not paying for that to happen. As in, when I purchase a vegan product, I'm not saying, yeah, I'm this product, for this product to come to my table, this needs to happen. That's not what I'm saying. Right? I'm not paying someone to commit those actions. Although these are the potential consequences of me paying for that product. Potential consequences. It's not a guarantee that these things have happened, but it's likely that it could have. It's highly likely. So as there is no guarantee that a plant-based product that you paid for caused an animal to suffer, it's entirely possible that it didn't. Compare that to contributing to the animal agriculture industries, where every single product that you purchase contributes to animals to suffering and death, to their suffering and death. Every single product you purchase from animal agriculture abuses animals, every single one of them. So this is like the difference between driving a car, just driving a car, right? And driving a car into someone and hitting them on purpose. Because car crashes kill innocent people every single day, all over the world. So many innocent people die in car crashes, but you still drive cars, and you know that it's a possibility that this is going to happen. In fact, you know that it's likely that when you drive a car that you're going to, one day it could happen. It's highly likely. There's high probability of car crashes. They happen all over the world and people die. But if you drive your car into someone on purpose, then you're committing the act of violence, right? So for many, it's impossible to live without driving a car. So they take that risk knowing that cars can kill people, but they have to take the risk. But that doesn't mean that they get in the car and hit someone with it, right? It's not an excuse to do that. It's like, well, I need to drive a car and people die in car crashes, so therefore I will kill someone with my car on purpose. No, that's not logical. This is how I see veganism as well. It's like we live in a non-vegan world. So I need to contribute, when I'm buying my vegetable vegan products, some of them may be contributing to some death and harming of animals via those pesticides, or farmers who go out and shoot the animals to protect their land, or the machinery. Some animals may be dying from that, and I don't want that to happen. But unfortunately, in this non-vegan world we're in, it's impossible to avoid it. But I need to eat something, right? So I consume those products. But that doesn't give me the justification to go out and directly contribute to animal abuse, just the same as it doesn't give me the justification to drive my car and hit someone just because people die in car crashes. Do you get the point? Intent is important, but also it's a necessity. We have to eat plant products. It doesn't justify going out of our ways to abuse animals, that animals could be getting harmed in plant production. And one more point, if you really want to go down this road and really keep pushing this, if I completely agree with you that, I do agree that crop death is not good. Crop death is something I would love to stop. And there are many vegan organizations that are working towards this, different types of crop farming to help to try and bring this and make it more feasible, these different ways of crop farming. That's great. But look, like around, I think it's, well, maybe just get this right in my head. No, it's at least 50% or more of the world's crops are grown to feed animals anyway. So if it's crop death that you have a problem about, then again, stop paying for 50% of the crops, because when you're purchasing animal products, that's what you're paying for as well. So when you purchase animal products, you're not only paying for those animals to suffer and die, but you're paying for the crops that those animals ate, and all the crop deaths and all those animals that died for those animals, for the food for those animals, and then you've killed those animals too. All right, so there's a little bit all over the place here on that one, but I hope that was like point by point. I hope it made sense. And look, actually, if you want to check this out as well, I've got a nice resource for you that you may want to look into. I'll do a quick little overview of this website here that talks about the crop death argument, actually, and maybe it's, you can check this out after the stream. So look, this website here, they did like a debunking of this crop death argument, and it's quite in depth. They've got a lot of studies. They reference studies here. They're talking about the machinery and how actually they've proven that it's the whole crop death argument has been massively overstated by these anti-vegans, and actually most of these animals get away. And anyway, it's quite interesting. And as I said, lots of references there at the bottom. I'm not going to go through it because it's quite in depth. It's quite a lot of detail there. It's not easy to go through on a live, but maybe I can do another video on it and we can go through step by step. But yeah, nice timing with the super chat, Oliver, because I can stop for a minute, take a breather and pop your super chat on the screen. Thank you so, so much. So carnists have all these arguments as excuses not to not having to deal with the reality of animal abuse, so they justify the discomfort of changing habits. Yeah. Well, these are the intellectually dishonest ones, so you're absolutely right. This is what we're dealing with right now. Thank you so much for the super chat. You super chatters are the best of the best people. Thank you so much. All right, number 28. We're going to get a little bit less serious for a second. Vegan food is shit. Vegan food is shit. How many of you have heard that before? I've heard that before. And to be honest with you, if you'd have said this to me 8 years ago, vegan food is shit. I mean, if we're talking about like available vegan food in the shops and stuff like that, I would have had to agree with you, because vegan food was pretty shit. The stuff you could get in the shops was not nice, and the only good food you could eat was the stuff you made yourself. And that was great. I liked making my own food, and back all those years ago, I was all right. Made tasty food. But if we're talking about like food in the shops and stuff, then yeah, a lot of it was pretty shit back then. But that's still not a good enough excuse to put animals through hell. Even if the food was bland and tasteless, I mean, you living a life that is eating shitty food, it's not causing you suffering. Whereas to not do that, if you're going to contribute to the animal holocaust, then that's going to cause death and suffering for all of those animals. So look, even if it was shitty and bland, it still wouldn't be a justification. Thankfully, plant-based food is not shitty and bland. Like, most people have eaten vegan meals without realizing they've eaten vegan meals. It's only when they find out it's vegan, they shit a brick and kick off about it and get all weird. There are plenty of meals that are just naturally vegan, naturally plant-based, without even any effort, that taste great. And look, all you got to do is a bit of research. Get out there. There's amazing recipes on YouTube. There's loads of vegan stuff in the supermarkets now that's actually really tasty. Like, vegan food has come a long way. And you know what? The people, the vegans of like 40 years ago would kill to have the world we have right now with the internet and YouTube. I mean, fuck, you can learn anything you want. You can cook all different recipes. You can just Google easy vegan recipes. This vegan food is shit argument is just a really lazy shit argument. So knock it off. Whew, okay. My God. We are done with the intellectually dishonest arguments. Give me a little notification. How are you feeling so far? Leave a comment right now saying still vegan for the animals, as if you were not going to be vegan for the animals now. So still vegan for the animals. Leave that in the comments down below or in the live chat. Let me know if you're enjoying the video. Leave that right now, because now after a little oat milk break, we are going to move on to the intellectually honest arguments and excuses. The intellectually honest reasons. So this means that most of the time, the reason someone's saying this is actually because they have thought it through and they genuinely believe this. It's not them bullshitting. It's not them just reacting and being, like verbal diarrhea, just trying to like piss you off. This is somebody who is actually concerned about the thing they're talking about, and sometimes even like trying to get the information from you because they actually want to go vegan, but they're scared. So, intellectually honest arguments. Number 29. It's too expensive. Okay, number 29. Reason number 29 to not go vegan. It's too expensive. So, look, if you go looking for vegan specialty products, chances are you're going to see they're expensive. All right? It's true. Like vegan cheese, vegan burgers, vegan pizzas. Excuse me for a second. I don't want to burp into the microphone. All that lovely junky stuff. It's pricey. No denying it. Like, I mean, there are cheap alternatives coming up now, but still, look, most of these alternatives, these are vegan fancy shit. It's expensive, right? But fruits, vegetables, seeds, grains, pasta, rice, beans, plant-based foods, like basics, the basic staple plant-based foods, these are normally the cheapest items you can get in every supermarket. All right, the poorest people in the world, the poorest societies and communities in the world consume the least amount of animal products in the world, because plant-based, like plant foods, vegetables, these are almost always the cheapest items you can get in every single supermarket. So don't be tricked by specialty items, right? Find easy recipes and cook your own cheap, tasty meals, Or if you want the specialty items, then pretty easy, right? Don't go on that night out you were going to go out on. Don't spend money on shit, and save it for the specialty vegan items that you want to buy, right? Because when people say this most of the time, it's too expensive. It's like, well, these items are treats. So treat them like treats, like a reward, like a special occasion. And I'm sure you can put a bit of money aside, to spend a couple more euros on a pizza that didn't come from animal abuse, and treat yourself to it. Or if you can't, and you don't want to treat yourself, you don't want to spend it, make your own fucking pizza with your own vegan cheese. Make your own vegan cheese. Like, it's this YouTube and Google. There's no excuse anymore. Just go and find out the stuff. And the link in the pinned comment, by the way, has a link to Vegan Bootcamp where you can get all this stuff for free as well. But Google is literally your best friend. I just don't understand how people don't think to just, do this, right? And, but I do understand it's, people think it's too expensive because of the supermarkets, and they go in and they have a look, and also they don't want to change. But look, come on, let's be real. Number 30 down. We are just under halfway in, and we're only an hour in. I'm actually impressed. I thought we would be up to 2 hours by now, but we're flying. We're going for it. It's too time consuming. It's too time consuming to be vegan. It's funny, that one, right? Too time consuming. I don't have time. All right. I can't do this. It's too much effort. I don't have time. But I'm sure you have time to scroll Instagram, right? Or fuck around on Facebook, or get into a YouTube black hole and end up watching some weird Russian meme video, right? I'm sure you got time to do all that, but you don't have time to make a change that can save literally thousands and thousands of lives a year, right? Come off it. Make it work. Learn what you need and how much time it'll take, and plan ahead. It is not rocket science. You make batch meals for the week ahead on Sunday. You prepare, you learn, you listen to others, you join groups, you join programs, you just put yourself out there. Start learning, because you can nail it. It's not going to take that much preparation. It's not going to take that much time in the beginning, maybe. Just like learning the guitar takes time in the beginning, but after you've learned the guitar, you can just play it and it takes no time, right? You need to learn and put the effort in, because it is worth it. It is worth doing, because you're going to save lives. You're not going to contribute to a system of abuse. I mean, come on. Come on. Shake the head. Give your fucking head a shake. All right. 31. Too difficult. It's too difficult to change. It's too hard. I just can't do it. It's too hard. It's too hard for me. You don't understand what it's like for me. It's just too difficult. Look, I'm with you on this one, actually. I understand this one, because change is usually shit, and not many people like it. Like a new house, a new school, a new breakup. It's not good. It's not nice. These things, they make us feel, I don't know, unstable. They make us feel like we just don't know where we are, who we are, what's going on. I need my stability back. I want my solid foundation back. I feel like it's gone, and it feels shit. I'm totally with you. I get it. But after a few weeks of this new situation, what happens? We readjust, right? We get used to the new situation. We make it work. So going vegan is no different. Like, it's going to seem difficult at first, just like the new school, the new house, the new girlfriend or boyfriend. Like, yeah, these things at first can seem a bit funny. Like, you start, seeing someone new, you start meeting new friends in the new job, the new house feels weird, and yeah, all right. But after a couple of weeks, it's not difficult anymore. You readjust, things become like your new norm. You're like, oh, this is great. Everything's all right, actually. I feel comfortable now. And those difficulties that you experience in the beginning, they're nothing anymore. And they're especially nothing when compared to the difficulties that the animals will experience if you don't go vegan. All right? So you can do it. It's not a big deal. It's not as big of a deal as you make it out to be. Trust me, it really isn't. Don't make it any bigger than it needs to be. It's a big deal for the animals, but it's not really a big deal for you. All right? That's why it's so important that you do it. Number 32. I like the taste too much. The taste of whatever it is. I like the taste too much. Most vegans, they didn't go vegan because they stopped liking the taste of animal products. Like most, okay, or a lot, many, let's say many, I don't know, assume, whatever. But for example, for me, and this might shock some of you, you might not like me saying this, but look, I'll say it. I still like the taste of cheese and eggs. I haven't eaten cheese and eggs since I've been vegan, obviously. But when I think about them, I don't like dislike the taste that I remember. I remember the taste and I'm like, I miss that taste. I like that taste. That was a good taste. But I stopped and we stopped because we don't want to fund animal abuse to get that bloody taste. It's simple as that. So if it means giving up a taste that we like, then so be it, right? Who cares about how good something tastes if we're talking about whether someone is abused or not? It doesn't matter if you enjoy the taste or not. And luckily, you can still get the taste pleasure without the abuse. Thanks to, yet again, these amazing videos on YouTube and amazing restaurants and amazing new products that you can either make your own, you can buy it, or you can go in the restaurant and buy it. It's everywhere for you now. So you don't even have to do without the taste anymore. The taste is here now. And I've had, and by the way, the egg, cheese, by the way, are easy to get vegan cheese that tastes good. I've made vegan cheese that tastes good. And the vegan egg, that's something that's growing now. It's getting better and better. So you don't even have to do without the taste, right? It's not like you have to sacrifice anything. So although taste is not an excuse, it's even if I agreed with you, like, okay, taste is an excuse, you don't have to do without the taste anyway. So either way, it's good. Go vegan. And we have a super chat once again from Amelie. Thank you so much. 33, halfway through. We have just reached the halfway point at number 33. Thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, keep them coming. Remember, the super chats, you can do them from like as little as like €1, $1. I think even 50 cents is actually a minimum. So if you want to get your comment up on here, just like Melly, you don't have to do like $5 if you don't want to do that. If you can't afford that or you don't want to do that, just do something a little bit less, and I'll pop you up on the screen and I'll show everybody how awesome you are too. So go for it. Thank you so much, Emily. Really appreciate the support. And everybody watching, thank you so much, everybody. Really, really appreciate the support. Number 33. Okay, this is different from number 32. Number 32 is I like the taste. Number 33 is I'm addicted. I'm addicted to animal products. Cheese, milk, meat. These are the three that tend to pop up. Like I'm actually addicted to them, people say. So look, it feels like these products are addictive. It feels like you're addicted to them. There's no doubt about it. For anybody who has, well, for everybody in here who's vegan, like I'm sure in the beginning when you first started to, not eat these products, you went vegan, it felt weird. It felt like, there are some tendencies, some habits that you have that, and you need to, it feels weird, right? It feels like maybe you are an addict, or it feels like an addiction. But the thing is that many of these products, these things are fatty and flavorful. They're very well spiced with salt and spices, and some of them have a lot of fat in them, and it makes us associate them with like things that we like more of, because our bodies, we crave fat, which is why things like, fat and sugar, things like donuts are really fatty. So people love to eat a lot of donuts, and, these things kind of lead us to unhealthy addictions to food, because these foods are so packed with flavor and fat, basically. And this is not just animal products, this is also vegan junk food as well. It's a reason, it's an issue with junk food in general, actually, as well as animal products. But none of this, look, this addiction is a good enough reason to keep putting animals through this hell on earth, right? So if you look at it from their perspective instead of your own perspective, your addiction just doesn't seem that important anymore, does it? Right? I'm addicted, for example, if I said like, oh, I'm addicted to cheese, I'm just so addicted to it. But then I go and see what happens to a dairy cow and how she's forcibly impregnated, how she lives her entire life in captivity with her babies being taken away from her every time she's forced to get pregnant, milked. And then when she's done, she's no more milk anymore. She's producing less milk, that she's slaughtered. All of a sudden, my addiction is just not important, is it? And look, again, let's imagine that this is a good argument. Let's imagine that your argument is valid. Like, okay, addiction is a good enough reason to keep abusing animals. Like, oh, you feel addicted, so it's a good enough reason to abuse animals. Even if I agreed with you, and that was true, imagine, it's easy to get the textures and flavors that you feel you're addicted to without animal abuse because of the more availability of vegan alternatives and the availability of recipes and guided videos that can teach you how to make those alternatives with the right texture and taste. So look, it's again, there's just no excuse here at all once you delve into it. It's more important. What's going on with animals is more important than any perceived addiction you think you have. And I do have a reel for this one, actually. Let's take a look at this reel, short video for you that it's kind of like similar to this one. It's about a similar excuse is that people who can't stop. Okay. Where are we up to? Yeah, this is about someone who says like, I just can't quit milk. You know, I just can't. It's like an addiction. I just can't quit milk. Hold up, let's just pull it up. I forgot to put the audio on again. That would have been embarrassing second time round, wouldn't it? Where's it gone? Oh my goodness. Hold up one second. I'm going to pull this up for you guys now. It's a much shorter way of responding, so it might be a nice one to show you. How's everyone doing so far? Give me an update. Tell me how you enjoying the live stream. If you're enjoying the live stream, leave me a comment right now and tell me I'm enjoying the live stream. Just like, that's it. Just say that. Just say that literally. I'm enjoying the live stream. Nothing fancy about that comment, huh? And I just did the same thing again. I'm having a breakdown. I'm having mind fog, guys. I'm having a B12 mind fog right now. All right, okay. We're finally ready. All right, let's play this for you.
I just can't quit milk. People can't time travel. Pigs can't fly. Cows can't breathe after they stop producing milk and so are sent to a slaughterhouse to have their throats slit because they're no longer profitable. Yes, that's where dairy cows end up. Can't means cannot. It means you are unable to do it. But you can stop drinking milk. It's just that you won't stop drinking milk. So cut the shit excuses. Stop breastfeeding from cows and sentencing them to a life of hell. Go vegan.
There you go. So for someone who's like saying like, I can't, it's like similar to, you know, I feel like I'm addicted. Well, yes, you can. Yes, you can, you know, and that's what you can, you know, that again on my Instagram, if you want to just pass that over to somebody and you can give them a nice little slap in the face with those. That's what I do with my reels. I'm just trying to like give you a smack across the face with the reel. It's not as, you know, as in-depth as it's 30 seconds, right? So in 30 seconds, you can't really do a full-on explanation like we can here, but I'm just trying to punch it in there. Number 34 of the intellectually honest excuses, the reasons of the 65 reasons to not go vegan is I need dairy products for calcium. I need dairy products for calcium. So this is intellectually honest because we have been massively brainwashed, right? With years and years of bullshit from the dairy industry. And even now, right, if I say to you, everybody in this chat, most of you are vegans, I'm going to assume, and if you're not vegan, then thanks for watching. I hope this is going to make you go vegan, to be honest. Go vegan. Here's your sign, go vegan. But even as vegans, when I say calcium, how many of you immediately think of a white liquid? How many of you, when I say calcium, you get the image of white liquid in your head? Now, be honest with me. It's all right. You know, be honest. It's nothing to be like ashamed of that we still have this association. It's after years and years and years of this bullshit being pumped into our brains, right? So, you know, even now that we know that as vegans, milk is not even a good source of calcium, but you know, milk is not the only source of calcium. We still think that we still have that connection. So it's not surprising that people who have never even looked into this before and never looked into veganism also have that connection. So it's tough to undo that, you know, that indoctrination. But in reality, look, as I just said, the breast milk of other animals is not the only place to get calcium. It's not even the best place to get calcium. You can get calcium from plant-based sources. And I got a few suggestions here from the from this website called theplantaway.com, which I'm going to load up on the screen right now, which is pretty cool. There's a long list, just as an example of different calcium sources and different things that have a lot of calcium in them. I'm going to throw it up right now. Here we go. So going down this list here, let's find it. Where's the list? Come on. There we go. So Get it in basil, marjoram, sage, whatever this is, good green stuff. Spearmint, poppy seeds, rosemary, cinnamon, sesame seeds, chives, maca powder, cloves, chia seeds, whatever these things are. Spirulina, black pepper, tahini, black tahini. Love tahini, by the way, one of my favorites. Carob powder, which is actually, that's pretty. I don't like that. It's all right in a smoothie though. Thyme, almond butter, chili powder, soybeans, almonds, flaxseed, peppermint, collard greens, amaranth, molasses, goji berry, tofu, kelp, rocket, black-eyed beans, Brazil nuts, cacao, kale, wakame, tahinis. Like tahinis, like I guess the seeds there. Or is that tahini? Tahini came twice? I don't get that. Why? Oh, unhold. And this one's hold. All right. Sesame seeds, hold. Wasabi. Look, there's a long list. All right. So there's a lot of places to get calcium. And look, you might say, oh, but some of those products don't have large amounts of calcium. Well, you can combine them with other products. I don't know. I cut out for a moment there. Can you guys hear me right now? Are we all good? Are we back online again? I'm not sure what's going on. All right. Let's keep moving forward. We've dealt with the calcium problem. Let's deal with the next one. What do you think the next one's going to be? Number 35. We've dealt with the calcium. And now we're on to, drum roll, protein. I need animal products for protein. Very, very common one and very similar situation to the calcium situation, because these disgusting marketing drives by these assholes have made people think that only meat has protein, So similarly to the calcium situation, after all of that bullshit, there's some people associating meat with protein. But every single vegetable has protein. Every single vegetable has protein. Every single vegetable has all of the essential amino acids, right, that we need. Some of them have higher quantity of them. Some of them have a lower quantity of them, but all of them have all of the amino acids. So the whole protein quality argument is bullshit. You can research it, you can find out, it's out there. It's bullshit. So eating a plant-based diet that includes high protein foods like, nuts, seeds, grains, it's fine. You're going to be fine. And if you're an athlete and you need a higher amount of protein, then again, it's all about the Google. Just do the Google and you find the high protein plant-based foods, which there are plenty of. I just listed a few right there. Nuts, seeds, grains, pack on the tofu. Tofu's totally safe to eat, by the way. And so is giving things like seitan and stuff like high protein foods. They're out there. But if you're not an athlete, then as long as you are hitting your calories, like as in you're eating enough calories of healthy plant-based foods for your whoever you are, like male, female, whatever, just the recommended calorie intake, then you're going to be hitting the protein. It's almost impossible to eat enough calories and not eat enough protein on a plant-based diet. It's impossible. All right, so don't worry about it. And I have actually a short clip here to show you on this one, because this protein argument actually tends to come from people who like need to build muscle. They feel they need to build muscle. They don't actually need to build muscle, do they? But it's people who are trying to build muscle. They normally say, I need the protein for my muscles. So I made a short little video exactly on that topic as well. And again, I had a brain fart and didn't put the audio on. So hold up one second. Let's just restart that and pop it up for you with audio so you can actually hear it. Here we go. To build muscle. Bullshit. There's no magical muscle building nutrient in meat. You can get everything you need from plant food. Stop being fucking lazy and build muscle the right way. But Whew, I was angry for that one, huh? I thought that video was a little bit longer and a little bit less angry. My bad. Damn. The beard wasn't looking so good in that one too. I don't like that video. Maybe I'm gonna redo it maybe. With a little bit less anger and a little bit more information. All right, look. We're on to a more serious one now. Very serious topic. This abuse, number 36, this abuse doesn't happen in my country. Number 36, this animal abuse doesn't happen in my country. Look, I have traveled all over the world. Like literally, I've been to many, many places, all right? I've spoken to people about veganism in many, many places. I've spoken to many, many people, and I've spoken to and met people who have spoken to other people about veganism in a variety of languages, all corners of the world, literally. I've met people who've done these things. And every single one of these people that I've met who've talk to others about veganism in their home language in their home countries, as well as all the people I've talked to veganism about in English in these places, has had the exact same bullshit. They say the same thing. It doesn't happen in my country. It doesn't happen in this country. Every single person in every single country says that. What the fuck? Where is it happening then? If it's not happening in your country, and it's not happening in their country or their country or their country, then whose country is it happening? Is it on a different planet? Where is it happening? It's bullshit. Absolute nonsense. There's no way to breed animals into captivity to be used and killed without violence. It's not possible. It's violence by nature. Go to your nearest slaughterhouse and see the fear in their eyes and see what's happening to them. Go to YouTube and watch Dominion and see what they do to animals in these industries. And just know that when you see Dominion the Dominion documentary, or Land of Hope and Glory, the documentary, or Earthlings, the documentary, or any of those, just know that that is happening in every country all over the world. It is happening in your country 100%. It's not an argument to say it doesn't happen in my country. It's not an argument. It is denying the reality. And I understand why you're denying it, because the media has made you a certain way. You know, the way you were raised is that this is hidden from you most of the time, and you think this doesn't happen where I live. And I get it, but stand up to the shit. All right, don't let these people keep on manipulating you into believing bullshit. It's all lies. It actually happens in every country. Number 37. The animals aren't killed or aren't harmed in the dairy or egg industry. Therefore, why should I go vegan? Because I can eat dairy and eggs, right? They're not harmed. Now, I feel a personal connection to this bullshit excuse because I actually said the same thing for a very long time. I was born vegetarian and I didn't want to change. So I said that quite a lot, actually. But the reality is, as I had to face the reality too, they are harmed, they are killed. In dairy, the cows are forcibly bred by artificial insemination. So if it's not artificial insemination, it's by tying them up and making a bull have sex with them. All right. But in artificial insemination, they tie her up again. They shove their arms inside her and they inject her with semen. It's horrible. All right. And you can see videos of that on YouTube. So that's harm, first of all. They're born into a life of captivity. The males get sent to be killed for meat. The females have the same life as their mother, forcibly impregnated and milked for years. And then they're also sent to be killed. They're all sent to the slaughterhouse eventually. Egg-laying hens have a pretty similar life, kept in captivity before being sent to a slaughterhouse, suffering because of how many eggs they're laying as well, which is way more than it should be in the wild. In the wild, chickens lay 12 to 14 eggs, and these places they lay upwards of 50 per year. So their lifespan is significantly reduced due to the extra stress, pain, and discomfort. And then they eventually are sent to a slaughterhouse to be killed for money as well. So it's not true that they aren't killed or harmed. They are killed. They are harmed. I have a short clip to show you of a dairy farm that we actually visited, and I'm going to show you it right now. I'm just going to pull this up, make sure the audio's on, just to give an example. And I'll warn you, this is obviously a sad clip, but it's relevant, and for anybody that's watching who is not a vegan, this is important for them to see. So there's no audio for this, so I'll just play for you. And this is, I'll talk over it. This is a young calf that was tied up, sick, a male calf. And they were just left out there, just tied up away from all the other cows and buffaloes just to die. Just left to die. As you can see, just dying for like any kind of attention. And it was a really, really, really horrible day, actually. So yeah, and that was in a dairy farm, and that's the case not only on that one dairy farm. That's the case on most dairy farms, that these animals, they're not the male calf in that situation, they weren't profitable. So why would the dairy farm try to save them or care for them? What's the point? They're not going to make that much money from them. In fact, they're not going to make any more money from them if they keep them in optimal health. They just need to keep them at the basic level of health that they can make a bit of money from them, you know. So it's really heartbreaking. And that's the dairy industry. So that is how it is. Number 38, staying with the dairy industry. The cows produce too much milk. We just take the extra milk. I've heard this many, many times, mostly in India, but I've also heard it in the West as well, that cows they're just milk machines. They just don't stop producing milk. It's just, there's so much of it, and that's how it is. This is just how it is, you know? Now, look, normally it's bullshit. But there are cases where cows do overproduce milk. But why would they overproduce milk? I mean, surely in the wild, that wouldn't happen. Why would they overproduce milk in the wild? This would be a trait that would probably get them, they would die from some kind of infection or problem, right? So it's not it's not a naturally occurring trait. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for that trait to be present in the wild, because it isn't, though. It's because of the breeding that's been done by humans, the selective breeding. So if you imagine that one cow happens to produce slightly more milk than another cow, and so they just take that cow and breed that cow, and they don't breed the other cow. So then, and they keep doing that over and over again until eventually you end up with cows that produce, you know, overproduce milk. They're producing too much milk because of the selective breeding that has been done to keep the genetics of the cows that produce more milk in I don't know, in the system, let's say. And also, some of these farmers do inject them with hormones to get them to produce more milk as well. So look, you can't create a problem, then act like you're doing something wholesome by making money from the problem. It doesn't make that's not okay. It doesn't justify it. You're not justified in contributing to this system of abuse because you created the system of abuse. You can't say that's why I'm doing it, right? I'm doing it I'm doing it because I created the problem, and now I want to make money from the problem that I created by pretending to solve it by keeping breeding them and selling their milk. It's circular. It doesn't make sense. The right thing to do is that if they're producing too much milk, the right thing to do is, first of all, stop breeding them, right? Stop fucking breeding them, so that this won't continue happening, right? She won't keep producing milk if you stop breeding the cow, stop forcibly impregnating her, I mean. And if she's already calving, if she's already producing milk, then you give the calf the milk they need. And if there is excess milk that's causing her problems, it's causing her discomfort, then you use that milk to feed orphaned calves or feed other animals that need that milk that have been rescued, for example. Or if you don't have them around, you donate it to a sanctuary where they can use it for animals that need it. Then you stop breeding the fucking cow. You stop getting her pregnant. You don't just keep on doing it and taking the milk and making profit from her. That's not a solution. And you personally, I mean, you're not an infant. You don't need anyone's milk. You especially don't need a fucking cow's milk. So 39. I only buy free range, organic, high welfare animal products. How many of you have heard that one? I only buy the organic, high welfare, free range. Or one of those buzzwords, or all three of those buzzwords. How many of you have heard that one? Look, I'm sure. I'm totally sure. In fact, I know for sure. I'm convinced of this, that when these animals reach the slaughterhouse, it brings them so much peace, to know they were from a free-range, organic, high-welfare farm. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it when they realize that, right? They get there and they smell the blood and they see the other animals and everyone's scared, and all the other animals that came from the factory farms, they're terrified, screaming and trying to escape. But no, not the ones from the free-range, organic, high-welfare farms. They're not scared. They're like chill. They're like, they see all of this and they're like, well, I was from a free-range, organic, high-welfare farm, so I'm all right. This is fine with me. I'm happy to go out this way. Yeah, I'm sure that's how it goes, right? and this is what I mean, I don't think anyone actually believes that shit, but when they come out with this excuse, it's like, well, is that what you believe? Is that really what you think is happening? That because they came from a high welfare farm, that you think that makes a difference when they reach the slaughterhouse? The end that they get to is the same regardless of where they were raised and how they were treated before that end. And anyway, these are just buzzwords. All right, these buzzwords, they're just aiming to manipulate you to continue purchasing those animal products. Free-range, organic, high-welfare farms, they engage in the manipulation of the bodies of animals for profit. They may do it in a less bad way than another farm. Like, for example, one farm might be very abusive and another farm might not be as abusive. Okay, I'll give you that. But if you treat your slaves nicer, does that make slavery okay? Right? Is that how it works in your mind? For example, like in ancient Rome, you had some slave owners that treated their slaves very well, like members of the family, and you had some slave owners that treated their slaves like pieces of shit. Does it make it okay that the other family that treated them like family, the house that treated them like family, treated them well? Does that mean slavery is okay then in that sense? Of course not. Of course not, because they're still slaves. So even if this beautiful, amazing farm that you think exists, even if it did exist, it doesn't change the fact that the animals are being bred, manipulated, and killed for pleasure and convenience, and it's not an excuse to keep contributing to it. Number 40, big milestone. Damn, we've only got a little bit left. Look at that, huh? We're getting through them. I only eat eggs from pet or backyard chickens. I only eat eggs from pet or backyard chickens. I say pet, I'm going to do this for pet, all right? Pet chickens. I don't have to do that every time, do I? You know I mean companion animals, but the word pet is just, this is for non-vegans, right? These are non-vegan excuses, so pet. So as I said earlier, wild chickens, they lay 12 to 14 eggs a year, as I mentioned, right? 12 to 14 in the wild. Domesticated chickens, you're going to find laying way more than that, upwards of 50, which destroys their bodies, puts them in constant stress. Okay, that's what it does to them. So if someone has pet chickens and they care about these pet chickens, actually, they should be making every effort to lessen that stress, which means using fake eggs to try and stop the chickens instinctively laying more eggs. It means feeding the chickens eggs back to them to replace the nutrients they lost in the production of the eggs. It doesn't mean taking their eggs away and continuously selling them, or eating them, and making them instinctively lay more eggs and losing all of that nutrition when they lay 50 in a year rather than 12 to 14. If that's how you treat your pets, then, well, they're not your pets. They're your fucking slaves, right? They're basically just like, you're just a smaller system of animal agriculture here. Like, you are part of the animal agriculture system. You're just doing it on a much smaller scale if that's how you're treating your pet chickens. Okay, so no, backyard chickens, pet chickens, whatever, it's still not justified to consume their eggs for the reasons I've just mentioned. I see a few of you commenting, by the way, talking about welfare and yeah, I am. Let me just clarify here. I am in no way advocating for welfareism. What am I doing that for? I don't advocate for welfareism. I don't know if that was clear or not. I advocate for abolition. But I still acknowledge, and you should also, in my opinion, you should also acknowledge that there are farms out there that have not less bad conditions, let's say, and there are farms out there that have worse conditions. It is irrelevant, of course, because the animals, regardless of the conditions, go to the same slaughterhouses, right? And they're still being abused and manipulated. But we still need to acknowledge that some people will visit these farms and feel better about it. And we need to acknowledge that, yes, okay, I understand that farm you visited seemed nice and friendly and good. And yes, some of them do seem like that. I've been to some farms too where I've looked around and thought, yeah, this farm is clean. There's people are clearly, caring for the animals in some way. But then, obviously, it doesn't matter how well they're being taken care of in that moment, or how well they're being treated in that exact moment, because we know what's happening. We know their bodies are being manipulated, that we know that they live a life in captivity, and we know what happens after that life. So it's important to, in my opinion, to acknowledge the existence of those forms, but to also acknowledge that it still doesn't matter. So I hope that I've made that clear. Okay, number 40, what are we up to? 41. Number 41. I don't connect with the animals. I don't connect with them. All right. They just say, I just don't, I don't love them. I don't connect with them. So, I mean, loving them is not a requirement of veganism. Loving animals is not a requirement of veganism. It helps, but it's not a requirement, obviously. Well, it might not be obvious to some people, but it's not a requirement, because in just the same way that you don't need to love some random person down the street, like, your neighbor 10 doors away or whatever, you don't need to love them to give them enough moral consideration to not pay for them to be used and killed. You don't need to love them for that, right? Just the same way you don't need to love animals to give them enough moral consideration to not pay for them to be used and killed. It's the same logic. They experience pain and suffering like you do. That's enough. That's enough to treat them in a way that doesn't cause them to suffer and die into a life of shit. All right. And that leads to number 42, which is kind of similar. Like, I don't connect with the animals. And then there's a follow-up to that. Some people say, I don't care about the animals, right? I don't connect is one thing. It's just like, oh, I don't really love them. I don't really care. I don't really connect. This one's more like, I don't care. This is like someone who's like, I don't give a shit about them. Right? I'm not interested. Like, fuck them kind of thing. And it's usually guys that say this, but girls do say it too. And it's usually kind of like real men that kind of say this kind of, I don't care, manly. Similar to the excuse above, and the answer is similar too, that you could hate them. You could hate them passionately and still be vegan. Your emotion towards animals has nothing to do with whether or not you subject them to horrific abuse. For example, if there was some serial killer in prison, right? And you hate them. You hate the serial killer. You've heard about them. You hate them. My guess is that you wouldn't pay for them to be abused, tortured, and killed, even though you think they may deserve it. You wouldn't pay for it, would you? You wouldn't contribute to that, even though you maybe think they deserve it, because you even though they probably do deserve it, you still wouldn't contribute to it. So then why pay for the animals to have that same treatment, even though they did nothing to deserve it? They did nothing. Whether you care about them or hate them or not is totally irrelevant. It's just about not being a fucking asshole. All right. And as I said, with this one, it's actually, I've heard it a lot from this kind of real man kind of person. You know what I mean? This kind of like, oh, real men don't, care about animals or whatever. This kind of, nonsense. So I did a reel about this actually. I'm going to show. What is going on with my connection today? So sorry about that one, guys. We're back on, I think. My goodness. All right, I was just setting up the reel for you, wasn't I? So let's just jump back into that and check out this reel. So Censorship. No, it's not censorship, guys. All right, here we go. So this is a reel I made about real men, and eating meat. Come on, man.
Real men eat meat.
Here we go.
Real men.
Real men protect the weak. Real men don't pay for animal abuse. Go vegan and start protecting the weaker animals.
Real.
So that's like again, another real nice little, real quick kind of, pop, 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 just trying to make a point with it in a 15-second clip. When it was back when reels were only allowed to be 15 seconds, actually. So we do 30 now, so I can do a little bit more of I can redo that one with a little bit more detail. But you get the point, being a real man, or being like a real strong person. It's not about being an asshole. It's about actually using your strength for good. Number 43, and this is actually a really, really common one, and I feel for the people who are suffering with this one. My parents won't let me be vegan. Number 43, my parents won't let me be vegan. Won't let me go vegan. A tough one, isn't it? So you want to be firm, but you don't want to create problems at home. I totally get that. Because look, I mean, if you create problems at home, then it can really mess up your life in a really bad way, right? You might not be able to actually maintain, for example, maintain a plant-based diet if your parents don't respect you and they don't want to help you. Maybe you don't have an income yourself, so you can't buy your own food. Maybe they just make your life hell, and so you're feeling shit all the time. I understand how like it can be with the home stuff. I get that. In my opinion, the best way for somebody, a young person or anybody who's living at home, trying to get through to their parents is a combination of approaches. So I'd say maybe getting them to watch a health-focused movie like What the Health, Forks Over Knives, The Game Changers could be a good start. So that's What the Health, Forks Over Knives, and The Game Changers. 3 documentaries that could be a good start, because the dietary part of veganism is probably their main concern anyway, like that you're not going to get enough nutrition, that you're not going to eat properly. So giving them these documentaries is a really good way to introduce them to the idea of eating a plant-based diet for health, right? Eating a healthy plant-based diet is what I mean. And maybe then they'll realize, okay, wait a minute, you can actually get all the nutrition you need. So maybe this veganism thing isn't as bad as we originally thought, and it's a good introduction, as opposed to going in hard with the, watch Dominion with me kind of thing. They might be a little bit more, give you more pushback on that because they're your family and they don't like to be lectured on morality. All right. Your family does not want lectures on morality from you. I promise you that. So maybe that's a good introduction to try it out. Next, I would say to take a leaf out of my good friend Alex Bez's book. So Alex is a coach, like a vegan communications coach, and how he did this with his parents. He's very close to his parents, to his mum, sorry, and his family. Yeah, to his family, and they really care about him. And I think it was actually the reason I'm saying mum, I think it was his mum that he specifically told this story about. His mum, maybe some other members of his family. But the point is that he sat them down and explained to them how important this was to him, how much it meant to him, and that it would mean the world to him if they would listen and respect him and actually themselves, go vegan, right? He also explained about how he basically opened up. All right, I'm probably misquoting him here. He explained it in a really good way on one of our live streams on Instagram a while ago, which unfortunately I don't think I have the clip for you. But he basically talked about how he just used real emotions to explain to them how much it meant to him and how much it was really affecting him, that they weren't respecting him or that they weren't I think maybe they weren't preparing vegan food for him in the home. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, that would be a good follow-up to the introduction to the health side of things, in my opinion. An emotional, calm, sitting down and explaining how much this means to you and how much it's causing you pain to keep living like this, and that if they won't allow you, it's really causing you a lot of distress and pain, And as I said, I know it's tempting to give your parents a moral lecture when it comes to the animals, but I personally just don't think that's the best option to take with family members, because they don't see you as any kind of moral, that you're a family member. you're probably not going to get through to them with a moral message unless you've got a great relationship and open and interested, in which case go for it. So there's a lot of different approaches for this one, but that's the one I would personally I would recommend. All right. Number 44. It's my culture or it's my tradition to use and eat animals. It's my culture, it's my tradition to use and eat animals. Standing up against cultures and traditions can be very, very challenging, especially in countries where these cultures and traditions are also tied in with religion, which makes it just dangerous. Actually, a lot of times it can make it very dangerous. But if we never stood up to violent cultures and traditions, nothing would ever change, ever. Again, this is another thing where there are so many examples of this in history where the norm, the culture, the tradition was challenged, and it turned out really well. Like, things changed for the good. Don't you want to be part of that history? Or do you want to be one of the people in history who made excuses and did nothing? Cultures and traditions that promote violence to animals should be oppressed. They should not be obeyed. And plus, it's not like you can't have culture and tradition without animal products. It's not like you need them to have culture and tradition. You can just switch things out, switch alternatives in. It's easy. And again, there are thousands of recipes and YouTube videos that are showing cultural and traditional foods and other things that maybe use animal products involved in, like traditional dance or traditional costume. There are plenty of resources to find out how to make them without the animal products, the food, and also the costumes and all the other stuff that comes with a lot of these cultures and traditions. So it's the information's out there. There's nothing stopping you. 45. Soy farming is bad for the environment. And vegans eat a lot of soy, right? So I don't want to go vegan because, soy farming. It's probably more of a dishonest argument than an honest one, but it's all right. We can go for it anyway. Soy farming is bad for the environment. It is in the way that it's being done right now. It absolutely is. It's destroying rainforests. It's destroying habitats, clearing the space to grow soy, deforestation. But what's the most of the soy being grown for, though? What's it being grown for? It's for the vegans, right? Yeah, no, that's not what it's being grown for. Most of the soy is being grown for animal feed. That's what 85 to 90% of the soy that's being grown is grown for, not for vegans to eat soy products, soy milk. It's for the animals that to be fed, to feed non-vegans. So if you've got a problem with soy, stop eating animal products and go vegan. Because if you have a problem with soy farming, then that's how you can avoid contributing to what the majority of soy farming is for, by going vegan, eating a plant-based diet. And you don't have to eat soy. If you've got a really, really big problem with soy, you really don't want to eat it, full stop, don't eat it. There are plenty of alternatives to soy. There are soy-free vegans. People are allergic to soy, like, who are vegan. It's totally feasible. It's totally fine. You can just eat lots of tasty, whole, plant-based foods and loads of other products that don't have soy in. Number 46, I'm a vegetarian. That's enough. I'm a vegetarian. That's enough. That's number 46. I personally was actually born vegetarian. I spent many years in that place, in that vegetarian headspace. I thought I was doing enough, and I get it. I totally get it. I was there for a very long time. I remember it, many years. But look, the reality is that vegetarians are funding one less form of animal abuse than a meat eater. One less form of animal abuse than a meat eater. That's it. Vegetarians eat and use all other animal products. And when I say that, I'm referring to Western vegetarians, by the way, because I know in India that vegetarians don't consume any animal products aside from honey and dairy. So in India, it's a little bit different. But in the Western sense of vegetarianism, they literally just don't eat meat, and that's it. That's not to say the Indian version of vegetarianism is any better. They're still contributing to the biggest abuser of animals on the planet, probably, the dairy industry. And so are the Western vegetarians. So look, if you're against animal abuse, no amount of abuse is justified. It is that simple. The dairy industry abuses animals, honey abuses animals, leather abuses animals, animal products abuse animals. Full stop. So do you want to take a stand against the abuse as a vegetarian? Are you a vegetarian because you believe that animals deserve a better life, that you believe animals don't deserve to be abused? Then you have to go vegan as the minimum. It's the first step. Vegetarianism isn't even a step because it's still supporting animal abuse. You can't say, I'm taking a step to stopping supporting animal abuse by going vegetarian, because if you are against animal abuse, then the first step is to stop abusing animals. It's quite simple. In no other way would this logic make sense. Like, I have realized that things that I am funding are directly contributing to, I don't know, pick anything, like child abuse again. Like, I've realized that some things that I am doing and contributing to in my life directly contribute and fund child abuse. I'm going to try and stop that now because I'm against child abuse. No, I'm stopping that now because I'm against child abuse. There is no baby steps in this. It's if you're against it, stop it. And vegetarians, you need to get that shit into your head and stop making these excuses, because so many of you guys do it. And how do I know you do it? Because I did it for fucking years. Okay, so let's stop it. Come on, move on. Get rid of the dairy. It's not that important. And everything else. All right, come on, be against animal abuse. 47. I have no idea what I would cook or eat. It's a good one, right? This is actually a good point. Not an excuse to not go vegan, but it's still a good topic for a new vegan or somebody who's about to go vegan. It's a good thing for them to bring up. So just eat rice and beans. Easy, done. Next one, number 48. No, I'm joking. Click the link in the pinned comment to sign up for Vegan Bootcamp, first of all, if you need information like about what to cook and eat. Or, as I've said multiple times, just jump on YouTube and type in quick, nutritious, easy vegan meals, or Google it, or something similar, and you'll find loads of really easy, fun, tasty food recipes to try. Going vegan is like learning a new language. You put the time in at first, but then once you're off and running, it's like second nature. Easy as that. Okay, number 48. Hunting is good for the environment. Hunting is good for conservation. Hunting is good for the environment. I laugh because this is like such a fucking ridiculous one. Like, I've written down here on my notes here, because I've got some notes. I've just written piss off. I got so angry whilst typing the piss off. All right. It's the worst excuse for senseless killing out there. Conservation, right? Who are you trying to trick with this bullshit? Like, who are these people trying to fool when they're like, I go out and shoot animals in the heart for conservational reasons? Because really, I'm shooting them through the heart because I love nature. Get fucked. It's another case of these people trying to fix a problem that they caused, right? Like, what I mean is, if the conservation effort they're claiming they're trying to make is that the population of those animals is too large, it's overpopulation. What, you think that just happened randomly? They just overpopulated. What happened? No, they overpopulated because of a human intervention, a human interaction. Humans encroached on their land. Humans took out their natural predators and made them extinct. Therefore, there's an overpopulation of another animal because humans fucked it up. Humans are the assholes, as usual. Going out and shooting them is not the solution to fixing a problem that you caused by shooting them. It's like, we shot some animals and we fucked up the ecosystem, so now we're going to go shoot more animals to try and fix it. Just shut the fuck up. Seriously. There are ways to fix these human-made issues in wildlife without going out shooting them through the heart. Like, and if it needs to be fixed, that is, right? And before taking any action, it needs to be considered the way that we need to do this. If it needs to be done the way that causes the least harm possible. And trust me, going out with a gun and your buddies and your hunting buddies and some beers and shooting animals is definitely not the way to do it. There's better ways to do it, and that's a whole other video that we can get into again. We're not going to get into it now, but basically just wanted to go over that this is an absolute bullshit excuse for a bloodlust, for a hunter who has bloodlust and wants to go and take animals' lives. Bullshit. And to be honest, if you get into this conversation with a hunter, you're probably not going to convince them. But however, you may be able to convince somebody who believes this after being bullshitted by a hunter. So yeah. Number 49. It's better to hunt and kill wild animals because they get a quicker death. Similar to the one before. Number 49, it's better to hunt and kill wild animals because they get a quicker death. Once again, we just find these really noble people. Like, I go out and shoot animals because it's better than the life they would have in the wild if I go out and shoot them through the heart, or try and shoot them through the head, or just, try and kill them with a gun. It's much better, or bow and arrow or whatever, because, they would die a slower death. If I didn't do that, they might die of sickness. A wolf might get them. They might starve. It's a fucking ridiculous logic that, like, I'm doing them a favor because they would die of these other ways. Why is it ridiculous? Well, when you apply it to humans, the world is a big and dangerous place. Many humans are dying from sickness and disease, and there's a lot of suffering. Humans suffer, all over the world. Humans have different ailments and diseases, and they're suffering. So, you know what we should do, actually? In one of these countries where really stricken with poverty, where people are really suffering, why don't we just send over a flight over, just a group of hunters, give them all some guns, and they can just go down there and just shoot everyone, right? Because that's the logic here, isn't it? Like, they're suffering, and they would suffer a horrible death otherwise. So why don't we just send over the hunters to one of these countries or one of these parts of the world, not an entire country, obviously, like a part of a country where the people are really suffering, and just go machine gun, kill them all, right? This is the logic that these fucking idiots are making. And when I say idiots, I mean the hunters, not the people who are saying this argument. Because if a hunter's saying this argument, then yeah, you're a fucking idiot. But if someone's saying this argument because they heard it and they actually want to understand it, this is why it's bullshit. What I just said is why it's bullshit. Yes, animals suffer in nature, just like humans suffer in nature. We all suffer. Life is suffering, in the words of Buddha. But trying to help them is one thing, right? But going out shooting them in the head isn't helping them. These people need to stop trying to justify their psychotic need to kill other animals. That's it. If they genuinely want to help them, maybe they need to look for ways to help them that don't mean tracking them down and shooting them. And this, again, is an entire other video on how we can help animals in the wild. But again, tracking them down and shooting them for sport is definitely not on that list. Number 50. Whew, milestone. Big milestone. Number 50. Fruits and vegetables have loads of pesticides and chemicals. So that means it's unhealthy to eat more of them, doesn't it? Unfortunately for this one, it's true. Many fruits and vegetables are grown with pesticides and chemicals. It's almost unavoidable. Organic vegetables are a little bit more expensive, so unaffordable for many. Some places don't even have organic vegetables, and they also don't have the capacity to grow their own vegetables as well. So yeah, it can be a tricky one to get around. You can wash vegetables in a vinegar solution, and you can also buy these vegetable washes out there that will take off most of the chemicals. So that's a solution there. Not ideal, obviously, as they still will have chemicals on them probably. But look, we're against animal abuse here. So we make it work, don't we? That's the point. We're standing against animal abuse. So whether it means washing the vegetables or it means that, okay, you have to consume vegetables that have chemicals on, and that's just the end of it. It's like, if it means that we're not abusing animals, then, well, so be it. All right. But the thing is here, look, is that, don't forget, most of the animal feed grown for the animals is grown with those same pesticides and chemicals. And the animals are eating way more of them. And the animals themselves are injected with different things like B12 supplements. They're injected with antibiotics as well. So, at the end of the day, we're trying to avoid animal abuse here. But even if I took this argument as like a good argument, like, okay, yeah, we want to avoid chemicals, and well, even by not consuming those animal products, you are avoiding a whole range of chemicals there. And if it means that you have to consume different chemicals and vegetables and more of those, well then, as I said, so be it. If you can't avoid it, so be it. But it's definitely better than contributing to violence and abuse and consuming all the chemicals on the other side anyway. As it stands, I think most people would be able to find a way around this. By, for example, washing the vegetables properly, as I've said in the different solutions, or trying to find vegetables that haven't been grown in that way, which is tough, but it's becoming more and more affordable and it's becoming more and more doable. But again, that's an entire video by itself. I just want to deal with the kind of basic response to that. It's still not an excuse to keep on abusing animals, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if that wasn't clear. I'm losing my voice a little bit. It's hard talking nonstop for 2 hours. I'm going to switch to water. Number 51. It's a Western, rich people, white propaganda movement trying to take over the world. Veganism is a Western, rich people, white propaganda movement that's trying to take over the world. You Western, evil Western vegans. Some people genuinely believe this nonsense, unfortunately, and it's just not true. It's just not true. The concept of not harming animals doesn't come from the West. The concept of not harming animals comes from the East. It comes from the concept of ahimsa, which means non-violence and compassion for all living beings. It comes from India. All right? So the specific movement and the word veganism is popular in the West. It was born in the West. Got that? But the idea that drove that concept, it's been around for a very, very long time, and it wasn't born in the West. So the people spreading this nonsense that like veganism is this Western rich people white propaganda thing, they've just found a popular excuse to continue abusing animals. And even many vegans, they love to get these virtue points by pushing this absolute bullshit as well. Like they push this shit because it gives them these kind of, I don't know what you would call it. It's like a currency of likes, a currency of virtue, isn't it? This is what we have in the world today. It's a symptom of the mess that we're in now as a world, as a society. It's like an ideological trend of white and Western hatred, like hatred for white and Western people. It's going to die out soon, I hope, and so we can build bigger foundations and stronger foundations for a vegan world. But until then, we just have to deal with these silly people pushing this nonsense. And Renan, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really appreciate it. And this is especially appreciated now we're in the second hour. And as you can probably tell, I'm losing a bit of energy. 2 hours solid. I need more oat milk. I think more chocolate oat milk. I mean, dealing with these excuses on a one-to-one basis in a, outreach scenario on the street or something is one thing, but going through them one by one, hour after another, all 65 of them, this is taking it out of me. Thank you so much, Renan. And remember, people, you can send super chats to get your comments up on the screen and get a thank you from me. And also, you do have the option to use the pinned comment here in the live chat or in the comments below to send a question for the Q&A, which we'll do after. And number 52, this is a funny one, similar to the last one, but a little bit different. I've heard this, by the way, all of these excuses, I've heard all of them, all right? Remember, these aren't, I'm not making these up. I've actually seen them, heard them. The NWO, the New World Order, is pushing veganism to make us all unhealthy so they can control us. Like the Illuminati, the New World Order. This one's pushed by conspiracy theorists. There's even like a really popular anti-vegan carnivore dude that like really fucking believes this. And it is so, oh my goodness. Look, it's a conspiracy theory. And honestly, if someone says this honestly, the chances of them being convinced that this isn't the case are very slim. They're probably lost, right? But for the sake of the, dealing with the point, I don't believe that veganism is an NWO agenda to make people unhealthy. You can disprove it by just simply pointing out all the different vegan athletes that are winning races and competitions all over the world, eating plant-based. They're eating a well-balanced plant-based diet, with good lifestyle choices, and they've got extremely healthy bodies. And so can you. If you eat a healthy, balanced plant-based diet, you take care of yourself, you exercise, you do all that good stuff, get enough sleep, you'll also be very healthy. It's that simple. All right, we are done with the intellectually honest reasons. There you go. How about that, huh? We are on to now the religious arguments and the religious excuses. It's about to get controversial. I promised you some controversy, and then, well, it's anything that's to do with religion is controversial, isn't it? I personally really couldn't care less about these religious excuses. Like I try to be respectful to a certain extent, but I mean, some of these excuses are really shit. So, all right. All religions. We've got the first one, number 53. This one fits into all religions. God, or whoever you believe in, put animals here for us to use, eat, do what we want with them. God put them here for us. Number 53. God, or whatever kind of deity you believe in. Every single religion believes that their God, or gods, or deities are loving, fair, all-knowing, all-powerful, all good, all that good godlike stuff. All religions believe that, right? Every religious person believes that, don't they? And if they don't believe that, then why the fuck are they following that religion? Why are they following that God, right? That's the point. So with all of that being the case, that they believe in all this all-powerful, all-knowing, fair, good, loving, compassionate, okay? It's fair to assume that the God or gods that you believe in created a world that was designed perfectly, right? So gods don't make mistakes. That's why they're gods. They create things by design. That's where we're at, yeah? So how is it that we've ended up with a food source that thinks, feels, has families, friends, a personality, all similarly to the way we do? It's a food source that screams and begs for their lives. A food source that's so violent, the system is so violent that the workers that are involved in the process of that system get PTSD, anxiety, depression, and it fucks them up so much they commit acts of violence on their families and communities. How does any of this make any sense if the gods or God created the animals for us to use and kill for food? Why do people get sick when they kill animals if the animals are supposed to be killed for humans for food? It doesn't make sense. Why do the animals scream and try to escape? It doesn't make sense. Wouldn't an intelligent, powerful, all-knowing, compassionate, created everything perfectly designed God create a food source that has none of those things, that causes none of this pain and suffering? Isn't that what they would do? You know, like a food source that is a simple organism that doesn't think, doesn't have a brain, is incapable of feeling pain. You know, like, I don't know, plants maybe? Wouldn't that be the food source of a perfectly designed world? And come on, I mean, get real with me here. It doesn't make sense that your God, being all those perfect, all those powerful, all that stuff, would create animals with this way just because you want to eat them. Doesn't make any sense. And here's I'm going to show you a short clip of me dealing with this similar argument here from somebody on the street who told me that nature has given us the animals, so not using them is what's wrong with it, basically, is what he was saying to me. So it's kind of the similar argument, like, oh, God gave them to us, nature gave them to us to use, is his argument. And I'll show you my response to it here. Oop. Let me tell you something. I am not going to forget the audio again. Here we go. Just load this up for you now.
Nature has given us cows. They are giving us this source of milk. What is wrong in using it?
How are they giving us anything? Are we not taking it from them?
Who else is going to take it then?
The calf? The calf they gave birth to, maybe? Maybe they would like to take it?
Okay. Nature has given us cows. They are...
So that just gives you an idea of the kind of brainwashing that we're dealing with sometimes with individuals. He literally just couldn't conceive for a second that a cow would give milk for the baby. And this is similar to this, God put them here for us. Like, well, if they're not here for us, then what are they here for? If they're not here for us to use, why did God put them here? Maybe your God put them here because they have their own purpose, their own life to just breed and with each other and live and enjoy life and look after their young. And you see, it's that's the, if any purpose, that's their purpose. And maybe they don't have a purpose. Nothing needs to have purpose. A mountain doesn't have a purpose, does it? A mountain just exists. You know, cows don't need a purpose. They just are. You don't need a purpose. You just are. Stop going around trying to put purposes on things so you can keep abusing animals. Let's focus on Christianity. Number 54, Christianity. 54, Jesus wasn't vegan. Jesus ate fish and he probably ate other animal products as an argument to not go vegan. This is somehow an argument to not go vegan. When was Jesus alive? 2,000 years ago, give or take? More, maybe? Less? I don't know. Around 2,000, right? Around 2,000 years ago, people didn't have much of a choice. And they had little to no education on nutrition. So why are we going to base our actions on the actions of someone living thousands of years ago? How does that make any sense? It's like the cavemen argument. It's like almost the same, really, isn't it? Are you going to throw away your car because Jesus walked everywhere? Right? Is that logical? Is that what you're going to do? Jesus, what happened then? What Jesus ate means nothing in 2021. It means absolutely nothing. And if Jesus reappeared right now, came back, are you telling me he wouldn't be vegan? The all-loving, compassionate Son of God? You think he'd be funding animal agriculture? You think he would go and slit an animal's throat when he knows that there is perfectly adequate nutritional alternatives and he doesn't have to do that? Do you really think that Jesus would do that? Come on. No, he wouldn't. Let's talk now. I mean, that's the last Christian one I've got. We're going to jump into Hinduism. We're going to talk about Hinduism because Hindus have a very common argument against veganism, or a couple of very common arguments against veganism. The first one, number 55, but Krishna was drinking milk. Krishna, the Hindu god, was drinking milk. Before I give you my opinion on this, I'd like to give you a clip here of a great activist over in India, Arvind, animal activist. And he actually gave his response to this question live to some school kids. And I think it was, I enjoyed his response, so I want to share it with you. So let's just load that up right now. Make sure we're going good. Yeah, we're going good. All right. So let's take a look at what Arvind, animal activist, had to say against the argument that, well, but Lord Krishna drank milk, so why should we be vegan? Let's take a look what Arvind has to say.
Because people always, there's one more question I'm sure people will ask me. They'll say, Arvind is speaking about veganism, but Lord Krishna drank milk. He consumed so many dairy products. So how come, I say the same thing, listen, Lord Krishna is Lord Krishna. He also lifted a mountain on his finger. Can we do that? No. You cannot justify you can't start comparing yourself to God, dude. See, here's one more thing I'll tell you. Lord Krishna, he killed his uncle, who was a corrupt king, right? Do you think if I go outside right now and try to kill someone because they're corrupt, I'll be let free? No, but I'll go to the judge. Imagine this. When the girls were taking bath, Lord Krishna went and took their clothes, right? If I went to a swimming pool right now, wait, and I took the clothes of women who were bathing, and the police caught me, and they took me to court, and judge is asking, Arvind, why did, Your Honor, Lord Krishna also did. Lord Shiva also did this. So I will do this. Does that make sense? So it doesn't. I want to make one see, God, be it any religion, God has his plan, her plan, whatever you want to say. God has a reason for what he wants to do, right? And in God's plan, we humans exist not to destroy, but to nurture and take care. That's what I believe. And God can do what God wants to do. But we humans, God will behave like God. We should behave like? And there was no behavior of human you saw in that video today. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Fair enough?
Thank
That's
you,
it.
sir.
Yeah.
So that's Arvind's take on it, which I think was great for those kids. Actually, I think it was entertaining and was well explained, and it's very similar to the point that I would make on the same thing. Is that whatever, if you believe in Krishna, if you believe in the Hindu gods, what they do doesn't justify your actions, and it shouldn't justify your actions. We can base our actions on what is right and wrong, good or bad. We can look at animal suffering and animal use and manipulation, and we can say, no, I don't want to do that. It doesn't matter if Krishna did or didn't do that. We're not saying that Krishna was good or bad. Krishna, in this sense, Krishna is a god. So it's irrelevant whether you believe that's good or bad. What's relevant is what you are doing in your life that is good or bad. And you don't need to do what the god or gods did, that you don't need to. You can make a decision with your own moral compass and say, no, this is abuse. This is not good. I'm glad you showed me this and made me realize that I don't need to live this way. And I'm not going to live this way. So it's not necessary. And you don't need to emulate any god, right? Number 56, and another Hindu specific reason or excuse. A lot of Hindus, especially again in India, but Hindus all over the world, but I spent a lot of time in India. That's why I was referring to it. The cow is our mother. She is sacred and holy. We don't abuse cows. This I faced almost daily when I was working and doing activism in India, and also online as well. Whenever I make any video that's kind of geared towards an Indian audience, this is one of the most common arguments I get, because India, the majority religion of India is actually Hinduism. So you see a lot of this. Now, the cow is sacred and holy in the Hindu religion, but that doesn't stop many Hindus from owning and operating dairy farms all across the world. Why would you put your mother in captivity? Would you breed your mother? Would you take her milk? No. Then why do it to cows if they are apparently your mother and sacred and holy? If someone believes cows are holy and sacred, they would care for them and not use them and manipulate their bodies for personal gain. This concept of the cow as the mother and we never harm them, it's largely absolute bullshit. And even the organizations that claim that, there's one called ISKCON, which is present in all over the world, but a lot of them in India, they keep cows in these places, and they call themselves a goshala, which is basically roughly translates to cow nursery, but they truly milk them. So they pretend that they're caring for them, and cow is the mother. We're doing the best here in our strong religious kind of culture, and selling the milk. Right, so they're abusing their bodies, they're manipulating their bodies while claiming they're caring for them. This is no way to treat an animal that you believe is sacred. This is no way that you would treat an animal that you would consider to be as important to you as your mother. It's no way to treat an animal that just is basically deserving of a life of not being manipulated and exploited, regardless of whether you think they're holy or not. It's no way to treat any sentient being. You just this is lacking of basic respect. Just care for them because they need your care, not because they can give you something in return. Next up, we have Islam, and some of the excuses I've heard commonly from Muslim individuals that I've met and or engaged with online, but actually most of these ones I've actually had face-to-face conversations where these excuses have come up. And first up, we've got number 57. The Quran gives instructions on how to kill animals. Before I go into it, I actually have a video of my good friend Altab, who is a Muslim vegan activist, and he actually explained this point. I asked him this point, and he explained this point. So we're going to go through that now. We're going to listen to what Altab has to say about this point, about this excuse, about the Quran giving instructions on how to kill animals and what it means to him. So let's load it up.
We do not want animal cruelty. That's what the Prophet said. The Prophet said that cut the neck swiftly. So cut the jugular vein in one swipe, 1, 2. So the animal dies easily without pain. And again, I'm saying that why he said that, because the animals were being killed in a very violent and torturous way, excruciating pain. People used to cut the limbs of animals before killing their throat. People were like, they had no guidebook, they had no morality, they had no one to teach them. They were savages. They used to cut the limbs first. They used to cut the tail first. They used to poke things, swords in the eyes of animals. So that's why this halal thing came, to treat animals in a better way, do animal welfare.
Okay. So what about the prayer though? That's part of the killing, right? It's not only the knife. There's also a prayer that is said, correct?
There's a prayer that I kill you you in the name of Allah. Like they take for the sake of Allah.
For the
They
sake of
take
Allah, they say.
Okay, so basically what I was trying to get to there was just show you that Altab was explaining why these instructions came. That was the point of that, right? So the instructions on how to kill animals came because in those times when the Quran was written, people were killing animals in a very savage way. And of course, they didn't know, or I guess they hadn't realized that you can be perfectly healthy without doing it. And also, maybe they weren't considering the moral side of the fact that, they don't need to do it. There's no necessity and the animals don't deserve it. So the Quran giving instructions on how to kill animals according to Altab was actually done to help them. And now in 2021, that's no longer relevant because you can simply help them by not killing them. So these instructions, they don't need to be implemented to in their eyes, kill the animal faster and all of these things, because now there is also the option to just not kill them full stop. So what is halal killing in the Quran? What myself and Altab actually agreed on in the end, that actually in modern day 2021, what is halal is to not kill them full stop, because there's no necessity to do it, and we know that now. So that's the response to that. Number 58, again within Islam, killing the animal in a halal way is quick and they feel nothing, which is what a lot of people, a lot of Muslims will say. And again, it's the same response to the last point that I would bring up and say, even if we agree, let's imagine I agree with you, yeah, it is quick and they feel nothing. It's very similar to a point we've already covered way back, that doesn't justify doing it. It doesn't justify doing it. Even if you completely agree with them that this is a fast way and they feel nothing, it doesn't justify slitting their throats for a convenient meal or pleasure, for a 5-minute pleasure. It's not a justification. And number 59, again, was still with Islam. Eid, the holy festival, requires animal sacrifice. Eid, the holy festival, requires animal sacrifice. I again went through this with Altab in our interview, and I'd like to just share with you what he had to say about this, because I find this to be very interesting and very important for us to know about Eid. So let me run that up for you so you can get a view and get a bit of information from Altab. Maybe you've already seen it, but if you haven't, then you would benefit from watching it, I'm sure.
A person, sacrifice means you should feel it in the heart. Sacrifice, you have little money and you are giving half of it to someone to help them, so you'll feel that in your heart. Sacrificing is not like buying an animal and slaughtering them or cutting their heads, because if that was sacrifice, a butcher is sacrificing hundreds of animals every day. So that way a butcher will be the most in the world, right? So that's not right, whatever we are doing. So am I clear with that part? Like a person, it's not mandatory for a person who's not going to Hajj to slaughter an animal or sacrifice an animal, but they can do it if they want. Yeah.
So there's two elements that he's like went over there. There's the one part that there is a pilgrimage, and if the person is not going on the pilgrimage, they don't have to do any sacrifice, but they can choose to, and they only have to do a sacrifice if they're going on this pilgrimage known as Hajj. And if they're going to sacrifice, then as he mentioned that the sacrifice, as according to the religion, has to come from the heart. It has to be something, like he said, half of your income, half of your money, something you are going to miss, something that is going to actually, you're going to feel it in your heart. You feel like you're giving something so important. Purchasing a life from a market and slitting their throat is not, it doesn't count as a sacrifice that is worth in that sense, if that makes sense. It's not coming from the heart. It's just an act of violence for nothing, right? But it's perceived as the right thing to do, but it's not the according to the book, according to what he was saying, according to the Quran, that doesn't make sense. Now, that's the response to this. Now, again, we're going through here the kind of no bullshit straight down the wire responses, but when it comes to these religious ones, it's definitely a tricky area. So if you're talking to somebody one-to-one about this, I'd recommend maybe speaking to a Muslim vegan about the best way to get it across before going straight in with it. Or you can link them to this video, obviously, because I don't mind taking the hit, but just be aware that if you come at somebody with these facts straight on, you're probably going to run into problems. But this is, I don't really care. I'm just trying to get the truth out there on this video, but just for you to be aware, just be careful on some of these, okay? You might get someone very, very angry, very pissed off, especially when it comes to religion. You never know how people are going to be when you're you're perceived to be challenging their religion. So just be aware of that. Number 60, the final one of Islam. The animals want to be sacrificed, or they want to be eaten. They push their own throat onto the knife. I've actually had two people tell me this in person, face to face. The animals push their throat onto the knife. They want to be killed. Now, again, I brought this up with Altab when we spoke about this, and I want to show you what his response to this was when I told him someone said this to me. I want you to see what he had to say about it. So here you go.
For a second. Well, the last time I had a discussion about this with somebody, he got very upset. Let's just leave it at that. But one of his points that he countered me with, he told me that when the prayer is said, okay, in that moment in Halal slaughterhouse, the prayer is said, he had this belief that the animal pushes their throat onto the knife. He told me that they calm down and that some of them lean in to the knife, and he was telling me there is evidence of this. He was saying you can see it. It's on YouTube. He was like, you need to go watch the evidence of this.
It sounds like if we give the women the right to vote, they will vote. They won't know who to vote for, and they will do the wrong thing and create chaos. That sounds like that. Who would want to die? The animals try to run away. I'll also talk about another thing that came to my mind. Someone was taking away a sheep by holding the ear. Mm-hmm. The Prophet told that person that don't catch the sheep by his ear, hold near the neck. Okay. So it's less painful.
Yeah.
So we can understand that animals can feel pain and they try to avoid pain. He talked about camels. Getting down from the backs of camels unnecessarily, so they can feel pain. Now tell me, who would put their throat in front of the sword? Only Absolutely. If they were doing suicide, because maybe they were doing the torture to animal, that animal would want to die by themselves. But
they don't understand what's going on. And then the thing is, I mean, what I tried to explain to him at the time, I tried to tell him that there is this psychological concept or psychological thing called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is the reason that horses don't kick people off. Learned helplessness is the reason that cows walk into the milking sheds rather than being dragged there. It's because they know if they try to resist and they try to fight back, they will lose. They know they will lose, so they break, they give in. That, in my eyes, is the only reason that a goat or any animal would be calm when they're about to be killed, is because they've given up. They've given up.
I've killed animals myself, and I've seen a lot of animals getting slaughtered. Thousands of animals, maybe more than that. I've never seen any animal be calm while getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
Not even a single animal. I don't know what he's talking about. So if you go and see anywhere that an animal is about to be slaughtered, they try to break free from that. They do not want to die. They know it's going to hurt. So no animal wants to die, and it's completely a dishonest thing to say, and it will be a lie. Maybe he is unknowingly saying that. Lying, but it's a lie. It's false speech.
Yeah. So, I mean, as if it wasn't already obvious that the animals don't push their throat onto the knife. You get an idea of. I don't even think this is even a question of a religious argument. Really, it's just a nonsensical argument, isn't it? It's just an absolutely ridiculous argument, but. There are videos out there. There are people that believe this. There are people trying to prove this. As I said in the video just now, it most likely, if this does happen, it is most likely a case of learned helplessness. As I explained, that the the animal may be calm and they may act in a certain way because they've given up, not because they are being swayed or giving themselves to you, which is obviously, that's wishful thinking, isn't it? Like if you're about to kill an animal in cold blood, it's wishful thinking to be like, oh, they wanted it, they wanted this. It's just a nice thing, nice story you tell yourself so you can sleep at night, isn't it? Now we're moving on to Buddhism. Yeah, believe it or not, Buddhism of all religions, as I have heard some shitty excuses from Buddhists, which is really disappointing, considering the whole concept of Buddhism is ahimsa and compassion to all living beings. The Buddha really advocated for that, but hey, some people are twisting and fucking with his words. So similarly to first of all, number 61. Excuse number 61 in Buddhism. The Buddha consumed animal products. This is similar to the answers that I gave to Jesus, to the answers I gave to the Krishna, and to the answer I gave to the cavemen arguments. What Buddha did or didn't eat thousands of years ago has no relevance in 2021, has no relevance to your life. You live your life with the moral code of 2021, which is that you have the knowledge on nutrition, you have the food availability, you have everything you need to live a life without consuming or contributing to animal abuse. So it doesn't matter what Buddha did. You don't need to, and you shouldn't copy the way Buddha lived in every single way, because now we're in 2021 and he was living thousands of years ago. All right. Number 62. I can't refuse food offerings. Now this this is based on some Buddhists, Buddhist monks and other Buddhists who are using the excuse of, well, if people bring me food, I can't turn it down. Bullshit. Yes, you can refuse food offerings that come from violence and cruelty. It's insane. And this, I first came across this actually in Thailand, when I was told that a lot of these Buddhist monks in Thailand, they purposefully tell people that they don't tell people not to bring meat, and they kind of pass the message along that, like, well, if they bring meat, they bring meat. So people bring animal products and they're like, oh, well, I can't turn it down, going directly against the teachings of Buddha, because oh, well, I can't really refuse the food. Can you believe that this is actually happening? And I guess it's not just in Thailand, I guess it's in other countries too, and there are Buddhists that believe this crap. So Buddhists, your entire religion is to reject suffering and be compassionate, isn't it? So how can you justify consuming offerings that are coming from animal suffering? As a Buddhist, you made to make that shit clear, and don't just say, oh, well, I'll eat the products of violence because it's rude not to. It's so dumb. It is so disgusting. And I can't believe it's happening. And I guess not many of the Buddhists, or if any of the Buddhists, are ever going to see this video, but it just disgusts me. And if you ever come across it, please tell them it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Spiritual arguments for the final three. We've got the final three, and they're spiritual arguments. So just general spiritual people, like whichever kind of spirituality they kind of follow. These are just general ones. Number 63. I deeply respect the animals that I eat. Number 63, I deeply respect the animals that I eat. I think you need to look up the definition of respect, because the last time I checked, using someone against their will and killing them is the opposite of respect. And this is especially for these spiritual hypocrites, because I've got a real bone to pick with these fuckers. Shut the fuck up with that nonsense. I've got little to no respect for these people. I really haven't. In my eyes, these are the worst of the worst. When I say spiritual, I don't mean like at least with Buddhists and Muslims and Christians and Hindus, at least they are somewhat committed to a religion that they, are passionate about and believe in. But these pseudo spiritual dickheads that have just decided that they're in touch with the energies and all the energies of the animal, shut the fuck up. It really pisses me off. I've got a real thing with this. It's hard for me to stay objective with this one. As you may see from a lot of the videos that I make, when I'm talking about Eckhart Tolle and Sadhguru, for example. But I actually like Eckhart Tolle's books, believe it or not. I've read one of his books and I would read more. I'm not completely anti-spiritual. I'm just anti-spiritual bullshit. Alex Andrew says, I have heard that before. I lived in a Theravada Buddhist monastery for 3 months. The monks in the monastery need to tell people what is acceptable as an offer. Absolutely. And thank you so much for that generous super chat right at the end when I'm starting to lose my energy. We've got 2 more to go. And I'm like, oh my God, we're almost there. There's a couple more excuses. Thank you so much, Alex Andrew. And yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's sick, isn't it? It's so sick, so disappointing from these people. All right. Next up in the spiritual bullshit lineup, we've got number 64. I eat what I feel is right. I listen to my body. I just know. I just feel it. I just feel it. My body needs. I know what my body needs. Listening to your body is how people get addicted to food, or the opposite. It's how people get addicted to not eating properly and how people become very sick. That's how listening to your body can get you. Because in today's world of extreme abundance and extreme choice, where you can choose literally anything, anytime. Most people can choose anything, anytime. You know, most people that are living in a, at least in the West anyway. Of course, I'm not talking for the entire population, but the point is there is extreme abundance in a lot of places and choice. And, you know, there are so many things that people can do and choose. So listening to your body is about the worst thing you could possibly do, because your body doesn't know shit. People can't make decisions. Your brain is not equipped to deal with this world. You need to listen to professionals who know what's best for you and your body, and can give you information that also keeps the animals in mind, that allows you to be healthy without contributing to animal abuse, which you can find in a link to this in the description to get to these professionals, and in the pinned comment to Vegan Bootcamp, where they can actually help you and give you this information where you can be healthy, happy, and avoid exploiting animals. Fuck listening to your body. Your body, your brain doesn't know what it's doing, doesn't know what it's talking about. It's confused. I promise you, you're living it with a mind that evolved for like living in caves, and now you're living in the houses with the internet and mobile phones. Trust me, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and this thing is not doing very well, all right? Don't listen to that, the instincts and my body, what my body feels. Don't do that. Listen to people who have your best interests at heart, and also the best interest of the animals at heart. That's what you want to be doing. And number 65, it's a journey, and I need to find my own way. Number 65, the final one, the last one, it's a journey, and I need to find my own way. My favorite. That's why I saved it for the last. You saved the best till last. This is a complete cop-out. This is the weakest fucking argument that there is. Here, you have someone, right, in this conversation that you're having with, you're a vegan, they're not a vegan, and they're having a conversation with someone. They're having a conversation with someone 100% willing to do whatever it takes to help you stop abusing animals. And you're going on about some fucking journey. What is this? We're not talking about taking LSD and finding your true self. You know, oh, just I'm on this journey. I'm on this journey, man. No, we're not talking about that shit. We're talking about making changes in your life that drastically change the lives of countless animals. It's not a fucking journey. And I have a short Instagram reel for this one that I'm going to show you right now. It's actually one of my favorite topics to cover with this one. What's my favorite topics? And none of these are my favorites. I guess it's, you know, they're all kind of, you have to do it. But it's one of my, I guess not favorite, most passionate ones. Let's say I feel most passionately about this one, debunking this bullshit. Hold up. Did I just... Let me check something 1 second. Didn't put the audio on just now. I did not put the audio on. I thought I didn't. Hold up. We're going to go again, all right? This time you have audio.
I'll go vegan in my own time, man. It's a journey. This isn't a fucking yoga course. It's a matter of life and death. And every day you don't go vegan is another day you're paying for animals to be abused and killed. Stop with this selfish, it's a journey bullshit. You have everything you need to reject animal abuse and go vegan today. I'll go vegan.
There you go. And I'm savage with that because I feel like it needs savagery. These people, this journey thing, drives me wild, drives me insane. Oliver, thank you so much for your super sticker. Really appreciate it. And just as we reach number 65, you give me that nice little boost for the Q&A. So thank you so much for your support, Oliver. And thanks for sticking through for the 2 hours, 43 minutes as well. And thank you for everybody else who stuck it through for the 2 hours, 43 minutes. Wow, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, hasn't it? What a journey this has been. Now look, I promised you guys a Q&A, and I'm still willing to do a Q&A, maybe like a little 15-minute Q&A. So let me check and see. Have any of you actually sent through any questions? I wonder if you used the link to send through any questions. Which doesn't look like you have, which is totally fine by me because I am happy to shoot off right now. It's been a journey, as I said. So the chat's too long for me to go back through to pick up your questions. If you have questions, you can pop them in the chat right now, real quick. I'll answer. I'll do 3 questions. All right, I'll do 3 questions so I don't burn myself out because this has been a long, arduous journey, and I hope you've enjoyed this, Jenny. Oh my goodness, it has been a long and arduous journey. We've gone through 65 arguments, 65 excuses, and I really hope that you have actually benefited from it. I hope you've taken some things from here that can help you with when you're talking to people, and coming back to some of these arguments. And if it has helped you, if you have enjoyed this, if it has helped you out, then I want you to put a comment in the chat or in the comments below right now. Real simple: vegan for life. Vegan and the number 4 life, because just mix it up and make it look a little bit cool, because we're all cool here, aren't we? Vegan for life. If you have enjoyed this and if you found this useful, leave it in the comments right now. So I see somebody just pointed out one of the arguments that I didn't cover. Blood type though. Blood type though. Here it is. I did not cover blood type though. That's one that I've never heard before myself, and I've only touched on it a little bit after seeing some. Who was it who did it? Was it Miley Cyrus, or was it Mike Tyson who said it? Blood type though. Anyway, it's complete bullshit. It's complete unscientific bullshit. If someone brings it up that it's a blood type thing, you gotta go tell them, provide the evidence. There is no evidence for it whatsoever. There's nothing out there for it. I have done a little bit of research, not enough to do like a full video, but like a little bit of research, and so far all I found is that there is no good argument here. There's no scientific argument here, and I will do more research though. Maybe I'll do a little video about it if I do more research and get enough to prepare a video. But yeah, as far as I can see so far, there's no scientific evidence for it, and that's it. Simple as that. All right, I'm looking through to see if any other questions here. All right, no other questions from you guys. And I'm going to check the live stream questions area again. No. I guess you guys were just in this just to go through to 65 and just see me hammer through it. So, hey, look, I really appreciate you sticking around for this. I think there's been some of you have been around since the absolute first minute. So this is great. Thank you so much for your support. And if you really do enjoy my work, if you like what I am doing, if you want to contribute to my work, if you want to be a part of this, if you want to make sure I can keep doing this, please do consider joining the Patreon team. The Patreon team, joining the Patreon team, you'll get access to exclusive content, exclusive voice chats in the Discord server, which we have going, and yeah, and you'll be helping me out. You can join it starts at just like $1 a month, which it really isn't much, $1 a month, but it is a lot for me. And I say this a lot because it is a lot for me. It really adds up. So please do consider joining the Patreon team if that's if you enjoy this work and you want to support me and keep me going and keep me doing this. That's how I'm sustaining myself. And don't forget to like and comment in the main comments of this video once it's all up and loaded, and get in the comment section and like it. And please, please, please share it. Share it in Facebook groups. Share it on your personal timelines. Share it on your Instagram. Like, get it everywhere, because this is I'm hoping this video can be quite useful for a lot of people. But you know, the only way to get people to see it more and more is by you sharing it. And you show YouTube that you share it, you like it, all that good stuff, and YouTube says, okay, great, this looks like a good video, we'll share it out to more people. That's how YouTube works. Activity, engagement, likes, shares, comments. YouTube sees that it's a good video and they put it out to more people. And then that's really, really helping me out and really helping out other people as well. Thank you all so much for joining. One more time, big thank you again. Thank you especially to those who gave super chats. Thank you especially to those who are here with the Patreon team as well, the ones who are supporting me on my Patreon team. Can't do this without you. So thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next video.